What's up, everybody, and welcome to the show. This podcast episode is brought to you by IBOW Training. As you know, we talk about training pretty frequently here on the show, and the IBOW has some amazing people that they work with in their network. Are you a designer, rapper, sign maker, or beyond? If you want to invest in your creativity for the future, IBOW Training is the right choice. IBOW is the nation's first training organization to offer training in all aspects of the rap industry, from quoting, design, printing, production, and installation. They offer a variety of training options such as training at your shop, group training classes nationwide, and even private design and print profile training through remote login. With trainers nationwide, IBOW offers support day and night by phone, and many of their trainers are within a day's reach for emergencies. IBOW is growing and will continue to support the industry in a positive manner. For more information, please visit IBOWtraining.com. We are also brought to you by We Print Wraps. We Print Wraps is the industry's #1 source for wholesale printed wraps. How easy is it to order wraps? Well, all you have to do is sell the job. Go to WePrintWraps.com, choose your desired film for the installation, upload your design, and if you're not a designer, no problem. They can design one for you and get your wraps delivered right to your door. They offer free nationwide shipping all across the U.S. and Canada on all orders over $500. And for exclusive listeners of the All Wrapped Up podcast, you can get 5% promo code when you type in the word All Wrapped Up at checkout to save on your next order today. Less risk, no overhead, wholesale printing. See why the industry pros love them. To get more information, visit WePrintWraps.com. I had a lot of fun talking with today's guest. Please welcome the great and powerful Robert Hutchinson. What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to All Wrapped Up podcast. We'll be interviewing industry-leading rap companies to share tips, tricks, stories, and more. Rob, what's going on, brother?
Oh, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
A little bit of this and a little bit of that. Nice, dude. How's your day been today?
Not super busy. Honestly, I've been doing a bunch of billing paperwork, and then, I had to meet a customer, which is, if it works out, it's a huge job. Nice. It's a dance studio, and, they're moving, and they've got, it's everything from channel letter signs, which, I don't really do a lot of. I'll get that stuff wholesale, and, I know some people who install, but it's tons of window graphics, wall graphics. It could end up being a really, really huge job, so.
Full service.
Yeah.
Those are the jobs we strive for, bro.
I'm telling you, yeah.
What do you, so you do a lot of like signage. I've seen some stuff on your Instagram and Facebook, some outside signage stuff and some wall graphics and.
Yeah, I come more from a signage, background. I started off, so I've been in this industry for 30 years.
30 years? Damn.
Yeah. I know, it's crazy.
You've seen it all.
I have. I started, working for a sign shop, and he did a lot of vehicle graphics. So that's I really got started in vehicle graphics, and then ended up later years I got away from it more into signs. But so this place, I grew up in northwestern Pennsylvania,
okay.
Up just, like an hour southeast of Erie, like almost at the New York state line, like 2 hours south of Buffalo.
Wow.
And, I moved down here with a buddy of mine. He was going to work for a race car shop, and I'm in Richmond, Virginia. So, he was going to work for this race car shop, and I was like, you know what? We had just graduated high school, not that long before, and I was like, you know what? I'm looking for a change of pace. I think I'll move down there with you. And it was literally, I had known for a while that he was moving.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure exactly what the date was. And he said, I asked him, I said, when are you moving exactly? And he said, day after tomorrow. And I said, well, how about if I come with you?
Wow.
And he's like, all right. And literally I packed up everything I owned. I had a 79 Mustang, the Indy pace car model.
Wow.
And, I packed up everything I owned in 2 days and just moved on a whim, no job, nothing. And, so the guy who owned the race car shop, was good friends with a guy who had his own graphics company. And I ended up talking to him. He looked at my artwork because I've drawn and stuff my whole life. And so he was like, yeah, man, let's, go ahead and hire you. And, so I guess the rest is history. I'm like everybody else. I got into it by accident.
Holy shit. So
had no idea about the business, you know.
So you were like 18 at the time, give or take?
Yeah, I think I turned 19 about 2 weeks after I moved here.
Holy cow. Holy cow.
Yeah.
What do your parents think about that? Your parents just like, oh, okay.
They weren't real happy.
Yeah, you think?
Well, my mom was, my mom freaked out a little bit because she's a worrier anyway. So she was like, I go to her and I already had my own apartment at this time.
Oh, really?
And, I went to her. Yeah, my dad and I never got along, so it was easier for me to just get my own place. So I ended up going to her and I was like, so, my buddy Tim, he's moving to Virginia, and I was like, so I'm going to go ahead and move with him. She's like freaking out. What are you going to do? I don't know. I'll figure it out when I get there. And then she's like, well then, when are you moving? Day after tomorrow?
No lead time at all.
Yeah, that didn't go over real well. So, it was what it was. And, I ended up, I spent the first night here, I spent on the guy who owned the, race car shop. I'll give a little shout out to we're still friends. His name's Ricky Dennis. And, I spent my first night in Virginia on his couch. Wow. And, his buddy was a guy who owned this graphics company. It was called Inge Custom Decals. The guy's name was Barney Inge. And so this guy was, I guess he's like my mentor in this business. He passed away last year.
Wow.
He's an old sign painter and, could do everything. The guy could pinstripe like nobody's business, man. He is so good. He was super procrastinator, but he'd pull out like last minute. He'd just come out with his pinstripe brush and just lay down the craziest like hot rod pinstripes you've ever seen and then match it perfectly on the other side. I mean, he was a whiz when it comes to that stuff, but, so I just learned everything from him. This was back, I know you've heard some other guys say it. I think Joe Solis was talking about, the old signmaker 4B.
Right.
And the thing had 10 fonts. I think we got the extender pack so you could have 20 fonts. You couldn't see what it looked like ahead of time because it just had a little LCD screen like a calculator. So you just had to know, like, oh, if I do this in Helvetica to make letters 3 inches tall and 24 inches wide, I have to know it's going to look right.
Right.
And so, that's how I started off. But we did a lot of race cars. So race car numbers you couldn't cut on there because, we didn't seam anything back then. It was kind of really, really frowned upon to seam anything back then.
Right.
So, we'd have, bigger vinyl that had 30-inch vinyl, but we'd have to hand draw numbers, and then make a pattern that you could pounce, and you'd use powder to pounce it onto whatever vinyl. So if you were doing, if you wanted a white number, red outline, black drop shadow, it was pounce it on white with black powder. Then you would hand cut with an X-Acto knife that number, pull it up, spray it down, of course, because it's no air ingress, stick it on red, squeegee it down, hand cut a border, like an outline around it, pull that up, spray it down, stick it on black, squeegee it down, hand cut a drop shadow. And that's how all race car numbers were done back then. And any logos that were bigger than 13 inches were all hand cut. Jeez. And so that's how I kind of got my start, was hand cutting everything. These guys nowadays, they got it so easy. They wouldn't have a clue how to do. Man, I did this is, I guess late 80s. There's a race car team that used to be in Richmond. This guy, Judy Dunlovey, owned a race car team, a NASCAR team. And, I think it was Benny Parsons who ended up becoming like a commentator for the sport later on. He was driving the car. It was a Bullseye barbecue sauce car.
Wow.
And this was when, you couldn't really, unless you got certain people had, I think certain systems you could actually scan artwork in but back then most stuff you were still hand cutting. So Bullseye barbecue sauce logo, we could cut it on a computer. Right. It was hand cut. So every race car they had a team, they had like 5 cars. And then every week when they'd go racing, if they tear it up or whatever, I'd have to hand cut the logos and go down there and stick them on the car and hand cut the numbers and stick them on the car. And, so I mean, there was a lot of cars we did like that.
You've seen the full spectrum of, the plotter coming into conception and all that stuff.
Finally getting software you could digitize and make vector art.
Right.
And I mean, I've done everything from like that to, t-shirt artwork. I used to do a lot of t-shirt artwork, because that same guy got into shirts so we had like a 4-color, press, and I used to do stuff with like halftone, like you could buy sheets of halftone dots, like of every pattern you could imagine. And so I would use, it's like just clear, plastic, and I would, or you could make film positives. Like we eventually got a system you could make them, but I would hand draw on like tracing paper, hand draw in black ink, and then make a film positive of that. And then you would stick like, these halftone patterns in so you could get like a halftone shading effect.
Yeah.
And hand cutting ruby lith and making your own screens and like, so I mean, I've been there from the beginning of all that kind of stuff and kind of did it all. And then, I worked at another screen printing company and they were getting a lot of, files from people that were like when Circuit City was still in business, they were here, they were located here. And we used to do tons of their work, like all their signage, in-store signage, that they hung like, from the ceiling and stuff like that.
Right.
So they would send us Mac discs and we had a PC. This was in the days when you had to send a Mac disc to another place and they would transfer that to a PC based file that you could going because Macs and PCs worked completely different back then.
Right.
And so finally we bought a Mac and they were just like, not going to send me anywhere to learn how to do any of this stuff. They just were like, bought all the software and bought the computer and said, well, pop one of those Circuit City discs in and just see what you can do with it. So that's how I learned Photoshop. Well, back then it wasn't even Illustrator. It was, Freehand. Freehand, was the vector program that everybody used. Quark Express was like the page making, so that would be
Quark.
like the
oh my god.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of that in a while.
I know, so that's like the what's InDesign now.
Right.
That's what Quark was back then. And I mean, so everything I got came in was like Freehand or Quark Express, and so I learned how to use those things. Basically I'm self-taught how to do everything when it comes to all the software. It's just, I've just grown with the industry as new things have come along. I've learned how to do those new things and, and just managed to keep up.
That's insane. Now with all like the file sharing, just sending an email. It wasn't easy back then. Send me a floppy disk, sir. I'll get that made. What was that one? The iOmega, it wasn't a zip drive. It was called something else. I can't remember. But it was like a big disk. It wasn't even a floppy disk. It was like this big hard disk. Thick.
And you had like an external drive that, where you could pop these disks in.
The times of burning CDs.
Yeah.
And sharing CDs. Oh my God, with files. Imagine, man, imagine if we still had that now. My God.
Oh, I know. Yeah, because I mean, literally, like say, you couldn't email files or anything back then. They would send a messenger or something with a disk, or just mail it.
Right.
And that's how you did everything.
Man, technology, holy shit! Well,
yeah, it's changed.
Oh my God, you could do so much with your phone too, compared to what you could do on the computer. It's like, yeah, send me a PDF. I can check it on my phone, and it's, God, back then, if you send a PDF, you'd be waiting half an hour for that thing to load.
Yeah, exactly.
And then hope to God doesn't get a kickback because your email can only take, 5 megabytes or something. You know what I mean? Oh my God.
Yep, exactly.
Did you ever get into like hand painting as well?
Yeah, I can paint a little bit, but not really. I mean, I can, and I would like to actually do more. My wife now, she can paint. She's amazing. She paints like portraits and all kind of stuff. She's amazing. Yeah, she does stuff I couldn't dream of doing. But, it's one of those things where I've tried it a couple of times, and I have a couple of paintings at the house that I've done, but I'm not, I've never really been able to do that well. But like I said, this guy that I worked with, he could like lettering and stuff like that, that same car I was telling you about, the Bullseye barbecue sauce car, he hired another guy, an older guy that he knew. And this was, like I say, this was like late 80s. This guy must have been 65, 70 years old then. And he was an old sign painter. He hand painted a Bullseye barbecue sauce bottle going down the side of the tractor trailer, and then the sauce pouring out and running down the whole side of the trailer.
Jesus.
And I just did the logos and stuff on it, but he did all that. It was insane.
Now, something like that, what do you remember how long it took to create that?
I don't know. I think he just did like a sketch, to show what it would look like. And then, I don't even know how long he worked on that thing, because I wasn't over there the whole time he was doing it. I was just there, part of the time doing my little bit.
Yeah.
But it must have been a week.
And it's both sides. It's not just one side.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like you spend 3 days on one side. You're like, yes. And then you're like, shit, I gotta turn this and flip it for the other side still.
Yeah, exactly.
Woo. And now
yeah, I've only painted a couple, one of the jobs I did where I actually got to paint something, but the way we did it was we used, patterns and used pre-mask, and it was just solid color. So it was like a blue and a teal.
Right.
It was, for a local TV station here. We did like 3 or 4 of their vans, but we would take pre-mask and like cover the whole side of the van, make a pattern, take an X-Acto knife and cut out like what we wanted to be teal, peel it out, then paint that part, like the teal. They'll wait for it to dry, peel all that stuff off, a day or two later, then you're putting on more pre-mask, doing the blue part, hand cutting it out, then painting it, peeling it all off. It was like a long process to do all that stuff.
Jesus.
I'm glad it's not done like that anymore.
Right? You make the template on the computer, print out the colors, boom, boom, you're done in a day, as opposed to 5 days. We're fucking.
Yeah, it's way better, that's for sure.
Yeah, we're definitely spoiled now.
That's for sure.
Now, what are you running for a printer at your shop right now?
I've done HP 365.
Nice.
I really like the latex. I mean, I've heard some people say, they don't like this or that. I think maybe when you were running the earlier ones, there was some things that happened with HPs that maybe weren't good.
Yeah.
But the last shop I was at, we had an HP 26500 and I really liked it. And then coming here, when I started this, we just bought a brand new HP 365 and I love it. I think the thing's great. I mean, I would have loved to eventually have a solvent printer as well, but I would probably never give up having a latex printer.
No, just the ease of getting the job done quicker and
yeah. I mean, I print it and I literally walk from the printer to the laminator.
Right. No issues.
Yeah.
With no issues. You can just get it laminated, install it right then and there.
Yep.
It's just that alone too. I mean, my God, it's the programming and technology in that aspect, and the material's gotten so much better, but now it's like the printers are getting so much better as far as the quality of prints and the ease of doing that and laminating right away and installing it. The production end of it is just My God.
Right. I want to see that HP, flatbed printer run.
They got a flatbed now?
Yeah. They came out with it not that long ago, and it's,
I'm so out of the loop with printers right now.
Oh, it looks awesome. I really want to see that thing in person.
It's, direct to substrate. Just lay it down.
Yeah.
Just,
done.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it'll do both. I think it'll do substrate, and then it'll do, you can print like flat vinyl or whatever. And, obviously if you have a flatbed cutter, then you can just like go roll from one to the other.
Oh my God. So this thing's only going to be a printer, no cutter on it?
Yeah, I think it's just a printer.
Yeah. Yeah. How big is it? Do you know?
I think it's a 4x8. I'm not sure.
Wow.
I've seen pictures of it.
Yeah.
I forget I think it's called the R series or something like that. But I definitely want to see one in person and see what it'll do.
I wonder if they'll have it at the, what's that show coming up here in a week? NBM? Is it NBM?
I don't know. I can't remember. It might be.
I can't remember either. I know, Trish from We Print Wraps will be attending.
Right. Yeah, I saw that. Because I saw Christina Gervasius is going to be there doing some live stuff, and so is Vinyl Vixen. And yeah, I can't think of what that show is.
Hold on a second. I got you. Yeah, the NBM show.
Right.
And that's going to be in Phoenix.
Right, yeah.
Here in a couple weeks. They're at booth 337, actually. Yeah, so I wonder if they'll have it then. You know what I mean? To kind of promote it.
I would imagine. I can't imagine that they wouldn't. I mean, cause that thing's, fairly new on the market, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be interested in that.
Yeah, it's the first latex flatbed. I mean,
yeah,
that's insane. That's insane. I mean, I've always seen like I've known, the Muto has been really good. Is it the hybrid? Hybrid, it converts.
Yeah, I think they have a hybrid.
Yeah, it's got the table that you can put in the front.
Exactly.
Which is really great for the price. You can get, all in one. Yeah. But then again,
I ran a Muto years ago at a place I was at. We had the 1624, and it was a pretty nice printer. I mean, it was really before I knew that much about printers, so I didn't really, couldn't really appreciate it as much as I probably could now.
Yeah. Knowing what you know now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good printers. Definitely good printers. I had a buddy of mine that was like a sales guy for Muto here in Boston. He would have a couple of their machines there, let me print a couple of jobs just because the quality is really good and the quickness of getting them done. It's just their heads are set up specifically for, for high speed. The way that it makes that little wave. It's their own technology. It like prints out that little wave section.
Yeah.
And the color comes out unbelievable. I mean, I think I printed a wrap in like a, 24-foot box truck. Maybe hour and a half.
Wow.
If that.
That's fast.
It's quick. It's super quick.
Yeah,
on my machine, I had a Roland SP540V. I could print 52.5 inches by 6 feet per hour.
Whoa.
That sucked. Tell me how bad
kidding.
that sucked. 6 foot panels an hour? Oh my God. I'd be fucking pulling my hair out. But, it's kind of, it's what
so
I
funny
could.
though. It's all relative. I was just gonna say it's all relative because, if you step back in time 20 years, that would be like lightning fast.
Oh yeah. And I'm only going back. I had that thing. That thing was my workhorse. I had that thing for 6 years. I bought it used. It had pretty low hours because it goes by hours that it runs.
Right. Yeah.
I think I doubled the hours. I was the third owner of the thing. I doubled the hours the first year I had it.
That's good.
From what it had.
That means you had work.
Oh man. I mean, the first year I had that thing, I put it through its paces. That thing ran every single day. I mean, it had
That's
to.
awesome.
Fucking 6 feet of film an hour. I mean,
yeah, no kidding.
Fucking 24-foot box would take me a day and a half to print, and then outgassing. My God, don't even get me started on that.
Yeah,
I learned the hard way with the outgassing situation.
Oh yeah. put something on it and laminate it too soon and bubbles all through it.
Oh, dude, it's like the worst. It's like, okay, why are these little bubbles not going away? And
you want to hear something funny? The guy that I worked for that bought this Muto, I won't even mention the guy's name. He's known around Richmond as kind of a shady dude. But he bought this printer. I don't even know how he was able to do it because he was always in money trouble. And so somehow they extended him a line of credit and he bought the thing at, interest free.
Wow.
And he was too cheap to buy a laminator. He tried to get a used laminator from some guy and it was only a 48-inch laminator. And the foot pedal was, or the foot pedal was broken. So you had to just like turn it on and feed or
right
turn
away.
it off.
Jesus.
That's it. Like, so it was ridiculous. So half the stuff that we did there, we didn't even laminate. He was just like, oh, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Just don't even laminate it.
Oh.
It's like, oh man, whatever. It's your reputation, not mine. But it was ridiculous. Yeah, we did so much stuff there that just didn't get laminated at all. I feel bad for any of those customers because I'm sure that their stuff was faded within a year.
Oh yeah, definitely. Within a year with Virginia?
Yeah, maybe sooner.
Weather, yeah, I know, right? It's just, dude, I had a Dage laminator and that thing sucked, dude. I had to replace it was almost like an elastic band. It was like really thick and round. And it was a pulley system. I had the whole thing legit taken apart, like the caps that would hide the mechanisms and like the pulleys and shit. I had those all taken out so I can just easily like look at it. If something was like wrong or the tension was fucked up, I could just like fix it on the fly. And dude, what a nightmare. I can only get like maybe like, I don't know, maybe like 80 inches before it started like,
started walking.
Oh, dude. And it wouldn't even like progressively walk. It was like all of a sudden somebody just picked it up and moved it over 2 inches. It wasn't even it wasn't even like a little bit of a walk. It just like would just go whoop. There we go. Now you get fuck up a panel, cut it off, start another one. Like I couldn't do like two full sides of a car. I couldn't dare to laminate them both at the same time. Just run it through.
Wow.
Gambling.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Woo. Those were the days. And then I got myself a Royal Sovereign and it changed my life.
Yeah, I've never used one of those. I've heard good things. I've got a GFP and I like it so far. I mean, it's a fairly basic laminator, but it works pretty well. It tracks pretty straight.
Is it a cold laminator?
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, it's, probably if I had to go back, I might get one with heat assist. We're trying to save money when I was starting everything and got that. And
heat assist is nice, but if you had to fix something, man, like you couldn't. You ever try to you ever get like a panel a little fucked up, like in the beginning, and then you like shit, and then you gotta roll it back out, and then you gotta pull the laminate off?
Yep.
You ever try to pull a laminate off? It legit,
it doesn't work well.
No, it does work. Dude, I have pulled probably a 6-foot piece of laminate off of a piece of film that got fucked up.
Really?
And saved the print. Dude, phenomenal.
Wow.
Dude, mind blowing. So, our production team, right?
I don't think I have the patience for that.
Bro, it comes off so easy. It's like mind blowing. I'll have to take a video one day of it, but I didn't know, I honestly did not know that you could even do that. So I was helping laminate, taking the feed, off the laminator, rolling it up at the end of the table and all that stuff. She got like a crease somewhere in the middle. So she's like, fuck, we'll have to cut the next one and then we'll cut it and peel it. Dude, it came off so easy and it didn't ruin the film. The printed film didn't even ruin it. I was like, what the fuck is this? And she was like, shocked. Oh yeah, just you gotta yank it like a Band-Aid, like, off.
Right, you gotta do it quick. Yeah.
Dude, and it was like, I was like, holy shit, I can't believe the laminate it can come off that easily.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
Unbelievable. Food for thought. If you're looking at, you mess up a long panel in the beginning stages, if you start fresh and peel it off like a Band-Aid, it will come off. And that's using, Avery film, wrap film with the Avery laminate.
Gotcha. See, I'm normally, IJ 180 MC.
Yep.
3M.
Yep.
And the 8518 gloss or 8520 matte. That's typically what I use. I know you always talk to everybody about certifications and stuff, so I've got 3M preferred, so I tend to just stick with 3M because I've actually gotten a fair amount of work because of being 3M preferred. So
right.
I do offer other stuff. I tell people, especially if people want to save a little money, I offer Avery, the SLX. I've only tried a sample of it. I got a little sample roll and did, a race car hood with it. Nice. I did a helmet out of it and I would never try that again. And I would recommend it. I'm gonna tell you what.
Did you panel it? Do a couple pieces?
Yeah. You got to panel it. I mean, I did it in, I think 3 sections, but still that stuff is so low tack that to get it to hold at all while you're trying to pull,
it's tough.
It was a nightmare. I was just like, I got a 5-yard sample roll. I'm going to give it a shot just to see, cause I had this little job to do. I had this guy, like I said, this guy had a race car helmet and he had his hood. And, the rest of his stuff was just like, cut decals.
Right.
And, I was like, the hood was fantastic. It went on so easy.
It's a little bit different technique than 3M. 3M's got a little bit more tack and you don't have to squeegee it as hard to get it on.
Yeah.
The Avery, you've got to put a little bit more pressure on it, but
yeah, you definitely got to put some pressure, maybe a little bit of heat to get it to stick. And
100%.
But doing a helmet was a nightmare. I got it done and it looked good when it was done. I mean, he loved it and it came out great, but man, it was tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I like I say, I have that to offer. I haven't had anybody who's really been,
particular
picked up on price enough to where, cause it's really only something I would say, if they're like, well, it's a little expensive, I can say, well, I can save you a couple $100 over the cost of the whole wrap if we go with this other material.
Right.
Options. So it's not, exactly. It's nice just to have it as an option. And Avery, I've used like some of their color change. I haven't really used much, of their, I have done a couple of things with their printed stuff. I didn't print it though. It was something somebody else printed.
Yeah. Like the 1105.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Which lays nice. I mean, I like Avery.
I love
their color change vinyl.
I think they've got a great selection.
Their color change vinyl lays like cloth or something. It's not even like vinyl, like they're matte black. Man, like when you're laying it, it's almost like you're just taking a sheet and like stretching it out over the material. It's not like vinyl at all. It's crazy.
It's very silky. Like it just kind of, it's
like soft.
Yeah. It kind of already falls into place and you just kind of do your thing with it.
Yeah. It's nice.
I like it a lot. I mean, it's the only thing that we have at our shop right now is the Avery. We mess with the Avery. We used to use 3M. And all that stuff. It's just some of the stuff with 3M, some durability issues, some warranty stuff kind of came up and, they didn't want to help out with that specific scenario. So unfortunately the shop changed.
I know they're a little questionable about they're helping out with warranty stuff. I've had pretty good luck. I had one roll that ended up bad on me. I did a van and it came back, like 2 months later and it had shrunk back like a half an inch on every panel.
Ooh.
Like the doors where they had been wrapped around the corners a little bit had pulled off completely and were like a quarter of an inch back from the edges of the door panel. It was so bad.
How long ago was that?
It's been a while. It was like 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
Like that.
Yeah. I think, that was a huge recall that, you know what's funny is that I got 2 bad rolls out of that. And it was almost the same scenario where when you laid it on, as if you didn't, outgas it, it would just automatically stick right on. And, I didn't have it wasn't like that. It just came back and shrunk. I mean, that's so
weird. It laid fine. I didn't notice anything out of the ordinary when I was laying it. It just, it came back, like say, about 2 months after it was laid, and it just shrunk back so bad. But they took care of it, I mean, of course, you're out your labor, so.
Oh, yeah, that's the worst part,
Yeah.
And you gotta save your cores. I mean, for warranty stuff, I mean, a lot of people don't write this down, but I think, and it's something, honestly, that I don't think I've ever brought up, on the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, we've gone a long time, but when you keep a file of your jobs, you should honestly write down the SKU number for that particular material that you used, just in case something like that 2 months down the road, because luckily I saved a lot of my cores because I reused them to cause I didn't have a, take up reel. So I would have to let the material hit the floor. I'd have a 6-foot table in front of it, and I would have to lay it on the 6-foot table and roll it up, as it came down. I had to roll it. So I kept a lot of my cores to keep stuff like stored and to outgas. So I probably gave them like 20 product numbers that were on my cores, and it ended up being that it was more than 2 rolls, but it was like 3 rolls ended up coming back to where there was a recall for that specific batch.
Wow.
And it was like, dude, honestly, I had to jump through like so many hoops to get this taken care of. It literally took a few weeks, but it was like I had to go through Fellers because I had bought it through Fellers, and then I had to deal with the regional rep through 3M, and then they had to go back. I had to send them samples. I had to send them pictures of my rolls, with the SKU that, said I had it. And dude, it was
luckily I didn't have to go through a lot. I mean, I had a really good sales rep. So there's a company used to be around. They were just bought out about a year ago, I guess, maybe less than that, by Grimco. It was Advantage Sign and Graphic Solutions. And I knew everybody there and was friends with them. I've known them for, a decade. And so they took care of me. Honestly, they handled almost everything having to do with having to do any warranty information with them.
Lucky.
I literally had to send them some pictures and a little bit of stuff, but it was pretty easy on my end.
Ooh,
so I was lucky.
Talking about Grimco, man, they're buying out everybody lately, huh?
No kidding, man.
Dude,
kidding.
I think they bought like 2 local shops in my area. Just bought them straight up.
Wow.
Just trying to eat the competition. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and I don't want to talk bad about the company as a whole, because I know a lot of people have good luck with them. And I know like one guy in particular has told me about things that Grimco has done for their company that has really helped them out of a jam when they didn't have to. Like they had bought something from another company and Grimco stepped in and helped them make it right. But I've had bad luck with them. When they came in and bought out Advantage, number one, the guy who was the manager there, who's a good friend of mine, he left because he told me, he's like, I don't like the way, they have their customer service and stuff set up. He's like, so I'm not staying, I'm leaving.
Wow.
And then another guy left. And then within, a couple of weeks, the local number that I'd always called is now ringing in like South Carolina or somewhere else. So I don't get to talk to anybody I know. I knew everybody in that shop, every sales guy, the guy who worked in the warehouse. I knew every single person there, and I like calling and dealing with people that I know.
Right.
And I was having a call, like say I was getting people in, some other state. And then I placed like 3 different orders that they screwed up. They either sent me the wrong quantity. One, they sent me like the completely wrong product. And so I was just like, all right, I'm done. And then they fired the last couple of guys that were there that I knew.
That sucks.
And brought in their own people. Yeah. So
even
I was like, all right, I've had it.
You know what? Even when I call fellers, I almost get the same people that answer the phone, that help me out, which is kind of weird.
That's who I buy from.
Yeah.
That's who I buy from now. I buy from fellers. My sales rep here, shout out to Susan. She's great. She was out at SEMA actually. I saw her. She was working the booth. It was, Fellers and Muto together.
Wow.
And, she was out there working. So it was funny. I was actually at the Avery after party the first night and I saw her there. I was like, what the hell are you doing here? But, yeah, she's awesome and she takes really good care of me. And so, I like them and I'm probably not going anywhere else.
Yeah. I mean, as far
Unless
as like,
Franco comes in and buys them up.
Yeah, I doubt it. If anything, Frank's gonna buy them out.
Yeah.
If they keep this customer service crap going, you know what I mean? I mean, Frank's definitely on top of the customer service, taking care of his people. Anytime I've had any issue, anybody at the office will, somebody will call me right away about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's never been,
awesome.
They've never made me wait or anything,
Yeah, it's funny. Like I say, I mean, I know other people who've had great, customer service or whatever with Grimto. My experience is just not the same. It's, it's just one of those things. Everybody has different experiences.
Right.
I know, I have a friend who, owns another company, he started off as a sign company and really I don't know how you would even classify him anymore because he's got 3 lasers. He's got a desk, one of those tabletop flatbed printers that prints like a 12 by 20 or something like that. I think it's a Mamaki. Yeah. He has an HP, like a 26500. He's got a CNC router. I mean, he has like the craziest bunch of equipment and he makes the most random things. He does like wooden dummies that he routes out for the Navy.
What?
Yeah, and they put them together they have joints and everything, so it's like all the different pieces. And they use it on they put them out in these areas and then drop bombs and see like how much shrapnel hits the bodies and to see how effective their weapons are or whatever.
That's a cool gig.
Yeah, he does a bunch of random stuff, but his, I'm not even where the hell I was going with that. I had a thought in mind when I brought him up, but
maybe the way he's doing things in his business.
Hell, I don't even know. So that's what it's like when you get old. You forget what you're talking about halfway through. I get off on a tangent.
Don't worry, that's what the podcast is all about, man.
Oh, that's what it was. Cause he has, certain brands of lasers that he's used. He has a Universal and he has a Trotec. He loves the Trotec because it's like the Mercedes of lasers and he thinks it's the best thing ever. He's had nothing but good luck. He has the best customer service experiences with them, everything. I know another guy who has a business and he has a laser. He bought a Trotec and had nothing but problems with it from the very beginning. Oh. Couldn't get it to the smoke to clear inside the machine as it's cutting or engraving. And they tried everything under the sun. He couldn't get it fixed. And finally he got rid of it and got an Epilogue and has nothing but success with that. Loves it. But the original guy that has the Trotec that I know, he tried an Epilogue first and had nothing but bad luck with that and had all kind of problems and they had to take it back and he ended up getting the Trotec. So it's just so random. Like you never know just because somebody else has a certain customer service experience or anything else with a company, right. You don't know what yours is going to be because it could be something completely different.
Yeah, it's just, the luck of the draw. What are you going to get?
It is. Seems like it.
Sometimes you get, something half-assed. Sometimes you score. And that's the name of the game with the business, man. When you get these clients, sometimes you get a winner. Sometimes you get a loser, you know?
That's for sure.
It's just crazy the environment we're in.
Yeah, that's it.
It's insane. Tell me a little bit about, tell me a little bit more about your setup, because you know, we talked a little bit off air and how your business is run, and how you kind of got into kind of this brick and mortar shop. Can you let us in a little bit on how your shop's set up and what you got going on in the back end?
Sure. So, you know, I worked for various sign companies. Like I said, that original guy, I worked for him for 7 or 8 years, mostly vehicle graphics and then some signs, some, you know, this and that. Got into more of the, bigger sign companies. After that, I, you know, worked for sign companies that did big pylon signs, channel letters, that kind of stuff. And I was the graphic designer and the vinyl guy at, you know, several different shops. So I designed, you know, tenant panel signs, big pylon pole signs, monument signs. Did that for a lot of years. I actually got out of the industry for a while. I was working for a screen printing company and just felt like, you know, I wasn't going anywhere and there was nowhere for me to go there. And I had a buddy who his dad owned a masonry company. So I ended up jumping ship completely.
Wow.
And went to work for this masonry company. I ended up becoming a superintendent with that company. I worked there for about 5.5 years. And then 2008, when the recession hit, you know, no new construction, no new anything. My job went bye-bye.
Oh.
And, so I spent a long time out of work. I mean, there was no jobs and I sent out hundreds of resumes, couldn't get a job for anything. And I finally got a job, like temporary job, turned into a full-time job. Ended up back in the sign industry because a buddy of mine called me and he's like, hey, you still looking, you know, you think about doing something in signs or whatever? I was like, yeah. And he told me about, you know, a sign company that was looking for someone to do vinyl and graphic design. So I ended up back in that business. When I left that place, I ended up, I'd never really done wraps because like I say, we had gotten away from vehicles. I was doing mostly signs. I was still doing vinyl, but I was still mostly doing non-aerographs. I was doing a lot of big lighted sign panels. So it's like, you know, 4 foot by 12 foot lighted box signs and it was all,
transparent
wet application, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of translucent stuff, all lighted stuff. And, you know, I'm still, like I say, still using non-aerographs, putting everything on wet.
Right.
And then, there was an HVAC company, well, they're more than that. They're a fuel company. They're all kind of other things, but, they were looking for somebody because they had a fleet of like 150 vehicles and they were, partially through wrapping them. They had hired somebody and it didn't work out. They decided to buy all their own equipment and do it in-house. So, they decided, I had talked to them and when, you know, they weren't looking then. A buddy of mine knew, we had a mutual friend who worked there. So when, they were looking for, somebody, they ended up calling me back up and they said, look, we're thinking about turning this into an outside business because, you know, once we finish our fleet, we're going to have the equipment and everything. We might as well use this to make money. So, they ended up hiring me to run that and turn it into an outside business. And, so my first year there, we still mostly just did their fleet. We did like $8,000 in outside sales and that was it. The second year I was there, we did like 80,000 in outside sales and still, you know, working on a lot of their vehicles, did 50, 60 of their vehicles. And they buy like 40 vehicles a year, you know, cause they're constantly replacing.
Right.
And then, the third year there, we did like 160,000 in outside sales plus whatever else we did. I think if you totaled it up, it was me and one other guy and we did about 300,000 in business, that year. Some things honestly, I'm not really sure what exactly happened there, but, things ended up not working out there.
Really?
We parted ways. And, in the meantime, there was another HVAC company that came there. This company's called Dominion Service Company. I had met with the owner. I designed his wraps. We had wrapped probably 5 or 6 of their vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
We had a really good rapport. He actually was in the process of getting ready to bring us, 2 more vans, I think it was. And so one of them they had just dropped off the day things went south at this other place. And I called him and I said, look, I'm not there anymore. And just so you know, cause the van actually showed up before they thought it was going to. It showed up on a Friday. We weren't expecting it till like the following Wednesday. And I said, so your van's not on schedule yet. I just want to let you know what's going on so that, you can call up there and maybe, get them to get it on schedule and find out what's going on. As soon as I told him what happened, he said, I'm not taking my vans there anymore.
Wow.
He's like, if you're not there, I'm not taking them there.
And that didn't get weird that an HVAC company owned the graphics company, but yet was working on another HVAC company's brand?
No, and it's funny because I do it now.
You do it now?
Yeah, we have another HVAC, but they're friends. They're guys who know each other. And, so I've got another HVAC company and we do their vans and we have a great relationship. He's brought us, I think I've done he's not a big company. I think he's got maybe 10 vehicles, so he's not huge. I mean, he's still a good sized company, but I think we've done 4 vehicles for him or something like that.
Wow.
And then a few other small things. But yeah, so it just worked out. Like when I told this guy, Chase is his name, and I told him what was going on, he said, I'm not taking my vehicles there anymore. And I said, well, I'm glad you said that because here's what I'm thinking. And I said, I'm going to try to start my own business and I'd like to do your vans on the side as kind of the springboard to get this going.
Right.
And I had a buddy who he's always a guy who's had money. His parents were fairly successful and helped him get kind of set up in business at a young age. And so, I called him and told him what was going on. And so we were talking about getting into this together. Mm. And he had a couple other businesses already going on. It was really hard to get a time to sit down with him and hammer out the details
right.
of, how we were going to get this going and everything. And in the meantime, I was over here. I did 2 vans for Dominion Service Company. And, by the time I finished the second one, he said, he knew what was going on too. And he said, have you ever had time to sit down with your buddy and work this out? And I had told him, that I was getting a little frustrated because we weren't able to sit down and get, cause I needed to get something going because it was, I didn't have the money to go out and buy all the equipment and everything else. And, I was like, I've got to work cause I got to make money. Right. And, so he said, well, look, let's go to lunch. I want to talk to you. And, so we went to lunch and he laid out a piece of paper and he's like, this is what I'm thinking. I'd like to get into this with you. And, we went back and forth on a couple of details. And so the way we started it off is, they bought everything, set me up in the shop. I'm in the same building as them. I've got a bay. And it's not a huge bay. The only downfall really here is that I've only got a 10-foot door. So box trucks, stuff like that. If I can't do them in here, I have to either do them outside or at my customer's location or something like that.
Right.
So he set everything up. I've got a printer room in my office and, the way it's worked out is that, I'm an employee of the company, but I have an ownership stake. So after 3 years, I can buy this outright. If for some reason I decided not to, or they decide, if I don't buy it and they decide they want to sell it to somebody else, I get a share of it. So basically I can't get kind of screwed over like I did at the last place I was where I built a business and then was kind of booted out on my butt.
Right. So you own some shares into the business, whether it goes exactly. One way, you get a little bit and then you'd have to kind of semi start over. But I'm sure at this point, from what you got going on, it seems like the better alternative is just to buy them out at that point, right?
Well, and that's kind of what I'm hoping. And I'm thinking it's almost 2 years right now. It's, in March, around March 1st, it'll be 2 years.
Wow.
So, I got another year And, I think it'll be a viable enough business. Then I can definitely make money at it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I'm on the verge of right now needing another person. It's, there's a lot of times in here where I'm like pulling what's left of my hair out.
No, it's because pulling your beard out.
Yeah, exactly. I got enough of that. I can pull some out. But, I mean, cause it drives you crazy. Cause I'm in here like I have to answer emails and take calls and quote jobs and do all the billing and all. And then I'm also designing, and then I'm printing and laminating and installing, and it gets to be a lot.
I know that race.
And it would be fantastic if, I could sit in here, design, print, and have somebody else installing, or I can have somebody who can go out on a job site and do something while I'm doing a job here, or vice versa, or, two people working on a job at the same time where you can knock it out so much faster. It gets frustrating, doing it all yourself. So I'm hoping that here before too awful long, we're ready to add somebody. And I think once I can add a person, I can really grow it a lot, because then I can make a lot more sales calls and,
focus on the things that you're not, on top of.
I know you're a fan of Gary V and Andy Frisella and all these guys. Like they say, work on your business, not in your business.
Right.
And so that's kind of where I wanted to be. I wanted to get to the point to where I'm working on building the business, not sitting here doing production work.
Right. Which is, at the end of the day, it needs to get done in order to pay your bills and get all that stuff done. But you're focusing just on that. You're not focusing on getting new clients, getting new work,
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, luckily we've been pretty lucky, because I've had a decent word of mouth and then enough, having a 3M preferred. I've gotten a lot of work from out of state companies. I've done work, local installs here for companies everywhere from Georgia, Florida, Texas, Minnesota, Ohio, New York, Tennessee. I've places all over the place, they just hit me up. And, actually one from Denver the other day. I have a big wall graphic, that hopefully is coming through, but it's been a nice little thing to have to be able to, get other work. And that install work is pretty nice, because you make decent money. You don't have any materials in it. So you got no money up front. It's just your time.
Right. Yeah. You can't go wrong with just those types of work.
Yeah. So, that's just another thing though, where it'd be nice if, I've got someone else here who can do those installs while I'm doing other things, because, also I turned 50 while I was out at SEMA. I don't want to be the guy laying on a creeper rolling around rapping underneath the edge of a car.
Dude, get the fuck out of here. You are not 50.
Yeah. I turned 50 November 1st. So while I was the day of the Worldwide Rap Party.
Wow,
it was my birthday.
Bro, you look nothing like you're 50. No,
I appreciate it.
No freaking way. I could have sworn maybe really late 30s, early 40s, dude.
Thanks.
Damn. That's insane. I mean, given after reading your bio and seeing, 30 years. A lot of people, what's funny is that a lot of people will put like 30 years of experience, but it's like 30 years combined experience. That's fucking different. You got one guy's got 10 years, another guy's got 10 years, and then you got 10 years. It's like fucking, false advertising, man. Come on.
Yeah.
But you legit got 30 years underneath your belt.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man.
Yep. I moved down here. It was, it was 80, let's see. I don't think when it was, cause I graduated in 86. It was the end of 87. It was the end of 87. So it's actually, 30. Well, I didn't start working for him, I think, till about the end of that year. So it's literally just past 30 years,
That's insane, dude. So I was 5. Not to put that in perspective right now.
Nice.
But I'm 35. Yeah. It goes to show you a little bit of your age, but that's all right, dude. Like I said, the vinyl industry has kept you young. That's how you gotta look at it, bro.
I'm telling you.
Oh.
I'm a firm believer in you're only as old as you feel. And I think that all the people who go, oh, well, I'm 40 years old, so I'm supposed to do this, I'm supposed to do that, and they age prematurely. I think, man, I've never felt my age. I've always felt like I was younger. I feel like I'm maybe 40. I don't feel anywhere remotely close to 50.
No. You don't look
even physically, really, I don't. I mean, my bad knees maybe every once in a while, but that's shit. I've had those since I was 30 because, just years of abuse, martial arts and stuff like that.
Oh, nice. You get into a little bit of martial arts. What are you doing? Like,
right now I'm actually, I'm thinking I'm going to go start doing jiu-jitsu because Brazilian jiu-jitsu. There's a place here that does judo and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And that really interests me because I've always been into Japanese martial arts. I studied Shotokan karate when I was young, from my time I was 12 until, from the time I moved away from up there, and then I still trained for, several years off and on, probably till up, I was about 30 and I really kind of stopped. And I did, kendo for a little while, which is a Japanese like sword style. And then I did aikido for a little while. But I'm thinking right now, Brazilian jiu-jitsu sounds like a lot of fun.
It definitely is. A buddy of mine owns a, Brazilian jiu-jitsu studio here. I actually just finished up, probably a couple months ago wrapping his, pickup truck. And,
nice.
He's got a great, he teaches young kids. He teaches, all adults, and he's very into the competitions and stuff like that. And I listen to a lot of Joe Rogan too, man. And
me too.
I love listening to his stuff. And when he gets really into his training and what he does, his routines every morning, it's insane. That guy's 50, man. And
I know.
He looks like he's in his early 40s and he's just jacked. You know what I mean?
He is. His routines and all the regimens and stuff that he has, man, that guy's got it nailed.
Yeah.
I love Joe Rogan. I've been listening to him forever.
Same here.
I used to drive my wife crazy because she was like, oh, Jesus Christ, you talk about Joe Rogan so damn much. But then it's funny, she went to work for this place and the woman who's the director at her office studies Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and everybody that she works with listens to Joe Rogan. And so she started listening to it a little bit, and she was like, yeah, I had her listen to a couple, like when Dr. Rhonda Patrick is on there, because there's so much information on there. So I had her listen to one of those because there was some stuff that was relevant to things we had going on or whatever. And, she was trying to do health wise. So, and then she actually started Brazilian jiu-jitsu. She's kind of been off of it for a little while, but she's planning on getting back. So we're going to go to separate jiu-jitsu gyms. She goes to one with the woman who's the director where she works, and I'm going to go to a different one, and then we'll just come home and roll with each other, and I'll see if I can't submit her.
There you go.
Choke her out. Or if she chokes me out, we'll see.
You believe it or not, man, my buddy's wife, dude, she can knock a person down. And and you know what's so good about jujitsu? It's so almost like fluent. Like they don't want to fight, but I don't know how to explain it. Like it's not really like I'm going to punch you. It's like, how do they divert that? Like they'll just submit you. Like it's not even about hurting you physically. Yeah. It's just about putting you down and keeping you restrained and having you not be able to move.
And my wife's strong as shit too. I mean, for real, just to wrestle around. She came home, of course, from her first couple of jiu-jitsu classes, and she's like, here, let me show you what we went over. And I mean, she's strong as shit. So I think that her, just combined with, and she's small. She's, 5'1.5". She's little, but dude, I tell you what, I think if, she actually sticks with it, I think she could probably do some competitions and kick some ass.
And you know what? It's just good to know, because God forbid you get into a scuffle. you like a lot of those jiu-jitsu guys, and when I watch a lot of like YouTube shit, and a lot of these guys don't look, you got like a 280-pound guy, and here's like a 160 guy. You know what I mean? And they're fucking scrapping, and this 160 guy's like getting up behind the dude, choking him out, like, you wouldn't.
But look at the original UFCs, man. I've been watching it literally from the beginning. And when Hoist Gracie would come out there, dude was 160 pounds, and he would, every single one of these dudes, guys that are 250 pounds, he's got them like flat on the ground, and next thing you know, he's on their back, choking them out. And he used to do that palm heel strike where he would, instead of punching them, he would just sit there and just with the palm of his hand just beating on the side of their head, man. He was a beast. And I used to love that because I was pretty small back then when those first started. I was like, probably 18 or something, 17, 18 years old.
Yeah.
So I used to watch those and be like, dude, that guy's like, barely, bigger than me. Might outweigh me by 10 pounds or something, but
kicking ass.
Yeah. And that was at the time when I was, studying karate and stuff. So I was like, man, this is something really to look at. I just never really followed through and never did. Cause I'm super into everything Japanese. You could probably tell cause like that Mustang I did with with dragons on it.
Yes. Great design, by the way.
Thank you. That's all hand drawn. I based that off like some old drawings that I had done. That's my thing is Japanese. I'm into everything Japanese martial arts, artwork, like just their culture. I love everything about it. And I've never been to Japan. That's one of those bucket list places that I want to go so bad, but I'm working on a thing right now. I'm getting ready to do this guy's, motorcycle, and it's the same bike that's, I wrapped here about 6 months or so ago. It's got like a black and white and gray, like geometric camo thing on it. I think it's a cover picture on my Facebook right now on the company Facebook. And, so it's, we're getting ready to redo that, and I'm doing another Japanese design, but this time instead of dragons, it's snakes. Ooh. And this thing is, I'm going all out on this wrap. It's going to have layers of vinyl. We're thinking maybe some gold leaf. It's going to have some crazy shit on it.
Bringing back some of that old school flavor.
Yeah. It's going to be sweet. And, ooh. I really kind of want to push that kind of stuff because I love doing that type of work. Like that Japanese, like tattoo style is, if I could draw that stuff all day long, I'd be a happy man if I could just sit and do that stuff.
How many layers did you have? Cause I remember back in the day when I had, Scott Keppel on. I think he actually thought that I was the one who did it, which is a great compliment because we kind of look alike, maybe.
Yeah. I said something to him about it. I met him finally out at SEMA at the Worldwide Raps Party, and we were talking about that because I think I had messaged him on Instagram after that, and said something to it because I heard that podcast, and I was like, "Hey, he's talking about my car."
Yeah, I was like, "Nope, that wasn't me. Nope, but I know who you're talking about." Yep.
I don't know how many layers it was. I didn't even build that thing, I think, really in layers. I think I built it all in one layer because that thing was hand drawn, excuse me, in Illustrator. So I took my original sketches and I actually just took photos of them and then brought them into Illustrator and then hand drew over top of it with, at that time I was using my Intuos. I had an Intuos 4, drawing tablet.
Yeah.
And then I just hand drew. So that thing is 100% vector. I'm with Dan Antonelli on that. I like doing everything vector. I am going to do some Photoshop stuff on this new one that I'm doing though. But yeah, if you look back at that car, every single thing on that is all vector art. And I don't know how many hours I had it. So what that was for was, this was the sign show that they have in Atlantic City around the 1st of December. This year it was something different. It's the United States Sign Council. puts it on. This year they did like a wrap competition, like where it was, you had to go in and wrap a bunch of different things. Like, so it was more of a wrap skill.
Right.
What it used to be was a wrap design and application contest. So you showed up with whatever car you wanted to bring to the show. And so it was, you had to get it there before it started, and it would be on the floor of the show for the whole thing. And you come up with your design ahead of time. You do whatever you want and print all your vinyl and everything ahead of time, bring it with you, and then you wrap it on the floor of the show.
Wow.
So that's what that was. And, I got my buddies, Michael, Maurice, Jr. and Senior came from from Long Island, and, they're with, Automotive Illusions, and Junior helped me wrap the car really. Senior there was kind of just to help us out and anything else we needed. But yeah, so we wrapped that car on the floor of the show, and we ended up getting second place, took second to, the guys at, what is that? Absolute Perfection up in Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
They've won it like 3 years in a row.
Jesus. What did they do? Do you remember?
They did a Star Wars themed car, and it was more than just a wrap. See, ours was just, I printed mine. It was just IJ180 and 8518 laminate. I was just going for the, my artwork as the design. And they did like this, they used like 7 different kinds of vinyl, multiple layers. They had film in the windshield with a projector in the seat, in the passenger seat that shined up so it looked like a TV screen in the windshield.
Jesus.
They had like a PVC pipe that they had made like exhaust coming out from underneath the car with a fog machine hooked up to it. What? They had pieces like that attached to the side with LED lights. It was crazy. It was awesome. They're super creative. His Rap Like a King entry was super badass. They didn't win. I knew it was between them and the car that won, but, they did a crazy little E30 BMW that was like this Tron car. Looked like something out of 1984.
Wow.
Yeah, they do some really cool work. And so those are the same guys that just bought 44 Tools.
44 Tools?
Yeah.
What is that?
Oh, they're kind of like Yellow Tools. They make a lot of wrap tools and.
Really? I didn't know there was such thing. 44 Tools.
Yeah,
they're on Instagram?
Yeah, check them out. I believe so. I'm sure they are.
Damn, I gotta check that out for sure. 44 Tools. Where are they based out of again?
I don't know where that office is. Somewhere else, because they bought them, and I forget where that location is, where 44 Tools headquarters was. Maybe Ohio or something.
And they make like all the tools for the industry?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Good to know. Somebody else out there, man.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think it was a pretty good move for them.
That's awesome. But you know what? Second place ain't that bad either, dude.
No, it's not.
That's still a win.
Yeah, I'll take it. It was nice. Got a nice little trophy sitting in here, and I printed out a cool picture of the car that I've got up on my wall in my office.
That's awesome.
But, yeah, I'm hoping that this bike will be something that kind of gets a lot of attention, because it's going to be a lot of detail. We're going to try to make the wrap as close to show quality as I can get. This guy wants to show the bike. He wants to take it some different places, and I may be trying to hit up some of these, like car shows and stuff, and having some booth space, and I'll take his bike out there. And so I think it's going to be pretty crazy. I've got the design already sketched out, and I've started working on the line work, the line art and stuff for it, but it's going to be, I'm going to have, I don't even know. I hate to think of how many, like 100 hours or something in this thing.
Yeah, it's going
to be insane.
For a custom design, you can't really, it's not something you can just bang out in a night. You know what I mean?
No, for sure. And I'm doing most of it. Actually, I was sitting here working on it a little bit while we were talking, but, cause I'm doing it like after hours. Cause this is sort of like,
you can't do it
a
during
passion
work.
project for me. Yeah.
Yeah, those are the types of things you gotta take home.
Yeah, he actually works for the HVAC company here. It was his dad who owns it. And, so, he's actually doing some electrical work for me, at my house. I'm going to once we actually, get the design done and the wrap print and everything, I'm going to actually install it on a weekend. So, after hours, then he's coming to my house to hook up my hot tub and run some electrical and stuff for me.
Ooh, hot tub, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we got that thing and it's just been sitting out on my deck and I haven't, cause it's got to be wired for 220 and everything and I haven't done it. So I'm just like, he's gonna hook it all up for me cause that's what he does. He's an electrician. So.
And this is perfect weather for a hot tub. A little
exactly.
little chilly out, sitting in the hot tub. Oh shit. Woo. What I wouldn't do to be in a hot tub.
Yeah.
Damn. That's fucking awesome. That's cool.
You guys still got a bunch of snow on the ground?
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Oh,
I mean, dude, we got some great weather towards the end of the week-ish. And it rained a lot. So it got rid of a lot of shit, but there's still some pretty good mounds.
Well, like I say, I grew up, 2 hours south of Buffalo. So I lived with, everybody that still lives up that way, they were posting stuff on their Facebooks and they got like 1.5 feet of snow last weekend.
Oh yeah, it was miserable, dude. It's just, it would like literally overnight and then the weekend was ruined. Just shoveling the white shit. It's just.
Yeah. It's funny because, when I was a kid, we got snow like that all the time and it never seemed like that big a deal. Like nobody really seemed to make that big a deal of it. And nowadays, man, people just can't. They can't drive in it. They can't do anything. Everything shuts down. Dude, we went to school. The only time they ever canceled school when I was a kid, we would literally have maybe 1 or 2 snow days a year. And this is at a place where there was 2 feet of snow on the ground for 3 months out of the year.
I know.
The only time they canceled school is if there was ice or if there was a lot of wind so it caused snow drifts. Cause I lived in a little small town and it's kind of mountainy. And so up on the hills, you'd get these snow drifts it would have a drift that was 6-7 feet across the road. And so they would cancel school because the school buses couldn't get through. That's the only time.
You're a little bit older when you remember waking up in the morning at 6 o'clock, 6:30 and putting on the fucking news and watching your school name scroll through either canceled, delayed, or whatever. Now they fucking cancel school the day before.
I've seen them down here cancel it like 2 days before. They were just calling for snow.
Dude.
And they canceled. It's crazy.
Dude, I get a text message and I get an email from my kids.
Here. Yeah, I do here now.
It's like, it's great. It's great because then I can like pre-plan, know what's going on, if they're going to be home or not home. Cause I get my kids during the weekend. So like, I'm really watching more towards the end of the week of what's going on for Friday. But like, or even, we might even get a text message on Sunday night or an email saying, hey, 2-hour delay Monday morning, and I'm already telling them, hey, at least you get to sleep in a little bit longer the next day. You know what I mean?
No kidding. Well, yeah, I'm one of those old guys that's, the uphill both ways.
Yeah.
'Cause, for real, my school, it was 1.1 miles to my high school.
Wow.
The bus did not stop at my house. It didn't stop for like another 1/4 mile past where I lived. Cause I was considered in town. You lived in town, you walked to school, the bus doesn't pick you up. So I walked over a mile to school and I was one of those kids too where like, I'm not wearing boots. I wear my tennis shoes and I rarely wore a hat or anything like that. Except for like early mornings, I had a paper route. So I literally left my house at like 5:30 in the morning, 5:45. And delivered, I think I was like 120 newspapers every morning before school.
Jesus.
So there was times when I was doing that, when it's like, you get up in the morning and it's 20 below and it's still snowing and I would be out, I'd have a ski mask on and the breath from breathing out would go up onto like where the eye holes were and I would get icicles on my eyelashes. I'd have to stop every so often, pull my glove off, like get the icicles off my eyelashes and then put my glove back on and go back to it. It was crazy.
Unreal.
Yeah, like I say, kids nowadays just don't have a clue what it was like, man.
Hell no.
But I wanted money. I was like, I started that paper route when my sister had it first. And so I started when I was 13 years old going with her and helping her, and we sort of split it. And then when I was 14, she stopped and went to work somewhere else. She was 2 years older than me. And, so from when I was 14 until I was 16, I had that paper route by myself. But I was making, this is 1984, 85. I was making like $85 a week.
That's a lot of money.
I know.
For a 14-year-old? That's a lot of money back then.
And my parents would, they made me put most of it in the bank, but I always had a little bit of money to spend on anything I wanted to buy.
Yeah.
And then I had some money when I moved out,
That's awesome, dude. So you were instilled that work ethic that, you want to earn things, you work for it type of
for sure.
Deal.
My dad was a hard ass. And I mean, like, you can't do this nowadays, but back then, like your car insurance.
Yeah.
They didn't have to carry me on their car insurance because I would live there and had my license. I had to actually, most people still did that, but my dad actually was like, you're not going to be on my car insurance because if you get in a wreck or you get all these tickets, then my insurance is going up and I'm not paying for it. Yep. You get your own insurance policy. You pay for your own insurance. I paid for my own car. I paid cash for my car when I bought it.
Wow.
My first car was a 1981 AMC Eagle.
AMC Eagle?
The little 4-wheel drive.
Holy shit.
Little hatchback. Yeah.
Wow.
And, I paid $2,500 cash for that car. But I had my own insurance. I paid that. Yeah, my dad was like, I'm not paying it. So.
Jesus Christ. Do you remember how much insurance was back then?
God, I have no idea.
Probably through the roof. New driver, everything.
Yeah, I was young. I have no idea what it was. I can't remember. I was able to handle everything. Because after my paper route, I got a job at a grocery store. And then when I was barely 18, because I turned 18, on November 1st, and then January, my dad and I kind of got into it. And so I was 18 in a couple of months. And he said, you don't like it? Move out. I said, okay. 2 days later, I had my own apartment.
Wow.
And it was a little one room, efficiency.
Studio.
But here's the hilarious thing. So this is a little studio apartment. It had a sofa that made into a bed. There was a dresser, had a little TV on it, a recliner. There was a little bar with a couple bar stools, and it was all furnished. And it had cable TV and a little bathroom and then, a little small kitchen area. And that place was $250 a month. Utilities, cable, everything included.
What?
And here's the funny thing is I was paying $200 a month to stay at my parents' house because once I graduated, my dad's like,
pay rent.
If you're going to stay here, you're paying rent. So It was $200 a month. So it was only $50 more a month to get my own place. And it included everything, including cable.
Dude, you couldn't find a studio. Actually, we talked about this a couple episodes ago. You couldn't find a studio for less than $2,500 here in Boston, dude.
Oh,
even 30 minutes out. $2,000, $1,800 for a little studio. What the hell?
Man, that's insane. Like, see, around here, you could find a studio for probably $800 a month.
Oh.
But, yeah,
that's crazy.
They're not crazy. I think, like a 2-bedroom apartment around here or something's, probably $1,200, $1,500, some, depending on what it is.
Wow. Yeah, it's probably comparable to Maryland. I got a friend that just moved up here from Maryland. He was saying, the amount of money you pay for a rent, you could buy a house and pay less in your mortgage than you would paying, in his house, decent house by the water, $208,000. Like,
that's crazy.
Modest house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's insane. You couldn't find a house. I'm about 25, 30 minutes out from Boston. The cheapest house you could find, maybe $4.25, $4.5.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
With work
I just bought
being
my
needed.
house I'm in now. Yeah. I bought my house I'm in now, I think. Actually, it's funny because it was on my Facebook memories. Today I posted that we closed on, or we, not closed on it, but we put a contract on it.
Wow.
So it was 1 year ago. So it's been a little bit less than a year. We've actually been in the house, but we paid like $227, and it's 1,800 square feet, 4-bedroom, 2-bath. It's got 2 fireplaces.
Huge. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's, nice little fenced in yard. I can't imagine what it would cost to buy that house up there.
Oh my God. I'm going to double easily. Yeah. That's insane. The real estate market.
Yeah. I was talking about that with somebody else because they were talking about San Francisco, and I was like, I can't. What the hell do people out there even do for a living to afford to live in San Francisco? I
don't think you get to enjoy it. I think you work to pay for what you got. There's no way.
I don't know what job you could find that would pay for that. How are you going to find a job that's going to afford you $1 million house? Because I mean, anything that's in San Francisco is like $1-2 million. Like I don't get it. I don't understand what all these people do for a living. Like I'm in the wrong business, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I say that often. I find it's like, holy shit, how'd you step in that? You know what I mean? I just heard recently it was Joe Rogan and who was it? Richard from Gas Monkey. And and he had referred himself. He's like, I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm an what did he say? It was like, I'm an entrepreneur. He's like, 'cause I always got my hands in shit. And I'm like, dude, that's so genius. Like,
yeah, no kidding.
That's freaking so funny. Like, this guy owns liquor, owns a shop, a garage, a bar, all these different things.
I mean, it all started from that show, because when he had that show, go back and watch the original episodes, that little dinky ass shop that he was in. It was like, it was like a 1,500 square foot shop, and he was building some cool ass cars, but I mean, after being on that show, and it got him so much exposure, like he just blew up, and now his shop's 10 times the size that it was.
Right.
And it's enabled him to get into all these other businesses. I mean,
it's just amazing. And I think it was like I think it's been 10 years he's been on, or something like that, where the brand has taken him. I mean, that monkey alone, just that monkey, he must sell a shit ton of t-shirts.
Oh, I know. That's a good brand.
Great brand. You know what I mean? A lot of his stuff's wrapped. I love when they introduce the wraps to these shows now. I see so many wraps on like Discovery Channel and shit like that. Like, it's great seeing that people are actually looking at it as another way of, other than painting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because they've done a few. I remember when they did that it was a Ford Fairmont. They turned into a drift car and they wrapped it in chrome. I can't remember who it was that did that though. I know, like, what was that place? 360 Wraps was doing a lot of their stuff.
360 out in Texas?
Yeah, I don't know if that's who did that car.
I think he was doing a lot of, I think he's, Stratus, I think his last name is, the owner. It's him and his wife. He's got his kids involved in it too. But he's really good friends with Richard, I guess. They wrapped his, toy trailer. He's got the race car.
Well, he's got all the race cars and everything. Yeah.
Right.
So he's got tons of stuff to wrap.
Right. Yeah, it's insane. And I think they've actually merged into, he's got that other spin-off where he customizes garages for you.
Yeah. Yeah, what, garage rehab or something like that. That's a pretty good show. I like that.
That's super cool because I see so many wraps, wall wraps, decals.
Oh, I know.
There's so much involved in that. It's so nice to see that aspect of our industry.
Wasn't Joe Solis, didn't he do some stuff for them? I think that's what he was saying, when he was on your podcast. I think he was talking about that.
Might have brought it up. It was such a long time ago.
Yeah, I know it's been a while. But I think he was, I think he did some of that stuff.
Yeah. It just, you know what? It's right place, right time, networking. You just never know, you never know what you can, step into. Even going back to, CW Wraps, he met the guys from that other, I forget what the name of it. It's on Discovery. Turbo Brothers, I think it is.
I don't think I've seen it.
It's like a new show that's on. They have like a drift pickup truck, and it's got like an American flag, black and gray themed on it. But they have their own show, and you know what? He helped them out at SEMA because something was happening with the wrap, or he had to clean it up or freshen something up or trim something up for him. And he didn't charge him. He didn't charge him for it. He kept his number and, kept his contact. And then like a year went by. He's like, hey, I'm pitching this TV show, blah, 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 blah. I really want you to be involved. And he's like, yeah, okay, great. Let me know. Another 6 months went by. He's like, we're almost there. You know what? And 2 years later, now he's got a crazy TV show. He's using them for all the raps that's going on. Just for one little gesture to help a guy out. Got him that little exposure. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's awesome, man. I mean, like you say, you watch all these guys like Gary Vee and stuff, and that's what they tell you. Offer something to somebody. Go do something for somebody else first without any expectations of getting anything in return.
Right.
And then, you never know what'll happen from that.
That's it. It's just good mojo. You know what I mean? To put out there. It's always good to help people out once in a while. I mean, don't bend over backwards and lose your shirt over it, but, help the people that, that really need it. And you never know what, never ask for anything back, but you never know when, they're going to return the favor for you or something happens and, you get that opportunity knocking at your door and.
Yeah.
Just right place, right time. Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
I wanted to ask you too, like, given that, the HVAC company is, the bigger shareholder of the company and you're basically maintaining the brand and working at it. Who came up with the name 6-8 Creative?
I did. I was actually had some other names originally. And I was sitting at home and I was trying to come up with a logo, and I wanted something that was really cool and it's something I liked, something that would be, I could use everywhere. And I don't know, it just came to me. I was born in 68. So,
there it is.
That's where it comes from. And so for some reason I was like, let me just write, and I was just playing around with different names and when I came up with this logo, I started playing around with it and I came up with this. I was like, as soon as I saw it, I said, that's it. That's what it's going to be. So, that's what it is.
What are some other names you came? I always like asking this once in a while because it's like to see the difference.
I can't even remember what I was originally taught. I know Vivid was something I was looking at one time.
Yeah. But
I think there might have been somebody else that had Vivid. What was some of the other ones? I thought about just using my name. I was thinking about, using Hutch in there somehow, but I wasn't really sure.
I like that.
How that would play out. I can't even remember what, I know I came up with 3 or 4 different things at least. I was sitting, I was just brainstorming and was just putting stuff on, and I was basically type stuff out and use some different fonts and try some different things and so like my logo, it started off as a font and then I manipulated it and put it in this arc and put these little extra spikes on it and just kind of changed it around to something that I actually really liked. And then, and at first I came up with the logo that didn't have the numbers on it. That was my, the original just says 6-8 Creative and it's got like the little starburst in the background.
Right.
And then I decided to do like a variation of it and I did the numbers that had like the bevel look on them. And I really like that. And so honestly, I've used that more and more. And I'll probably use that most of the time. I'll use the one with the numbers just because I like the way those bevel numbers look on it. It just came out really cool.
Yeah, I think it's super cool. And to not have wraps in it, in the name too is nice because you're keeping it well rounded because you do a little bit of signage and stuff like that. You're not pigeonholing yourself.
That was exactly my thought is I didn't want to limit it. I wanted it to be, it could be anything, you know. So
Right.
when you hear, you know, 6-8 creative, that could be design, it could be signage, it could be graphics, it could be wraps, it could be, you know, anything creative. So yeah, I was like, that's what I really wanted to have, something that wasn't on the nose, you know,
Right.
that wasn't like 6-8 wraps or, you know. Sometimes it helps though when you have wraps in your name, like when you're talking about doing your website and coming up in Google searches and stuff like that, having wraps in the name so that it's in your name of your website
helps.
is not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
and because of this name too, having numbers in it, it's been one of these things where people will ask me, "Oh, what's your website?" Then I have to say, "Well, it's 6-8 Creative," but it's all spelled out. And you would be shocked at how many people would be like either text me or call me and say, "Hey, I was trying to find this," or "I was trying to send you an email and so it's 6-8," and I said spelled out or the numbers. And they're like, the numbers. I'm like, I've already told you it's all spelled out. And so then I have to say SIXEIGHT creative. So I ended up switching my website that I put on everything. It was another deal. I was sitting at home and it just came to me and I was like, raprichmond.com.
I noticed that.
And I immediately I went on and was like, let me see if this is taken. And it wasn't. I bought it right then. And I said, that's what I'm going to use because that's something that's so simple that I can just tell people, or if they see it on my truck or they see it anywhere, they're going to remember raprichmond.com. They might not remember 68creative.com.
Right. Can you buy the numerals 6-8 creative?
And I think I have it. I bought, and so basically raprichmond.com just forwards to my 68creative.com.
Right.
But I did that just for ease of telling people what it is and for people's memory. But I think I have the numbers 68creative.com. I have it spelled out. I think I have a couple different, I bought like 4 or 5 different things just to make sure that, if people type in something weird, it will come up. But when they try to send me an email, it wouldn't. And it's funny now because so now I have, if you go to my website and you click on contact, it sends it to info@68creative.com. I still have my Hutch at 68creative.com and I have Hutch at raprichmond.com. So I'm like checking 3 emails every day. I'm like just going through and checking all 3 emails just to make sure I have everything because it just depends on where somebody's writing me from.
You can get all your bases covered just in case.
Exactly.
That is so funny. I mean, a lot of us, I would have to say, a lot of us went out and bought a shit ton of, website names, domain names.
I heard Shane talking about it on the podcast. Shane Lloyd. He was like talking about buying all these crazy websites and just sitting on them, just seeing if somebody wanted to buy them.
Why not?
Yeah.
I
people did
a
it
couple.
back in the first, like in the beginning part of the internet, man. There were people who bought like Pepsi.com and Ford.com and they ended up selling those for like 20, 50 grand, whatever, to these big corporations because the corporation wants their website and somebody else owned it. So they could pretty much name their own price, You know
what a lot of people were doing where I heard that you can make money was back in the day when American Idol came out and the whole, social media buying, your kind of your name on social media and linking it to your website.
Oh yeah.
When you get to the bottom, like 5, people stop buying these names, like their names for the website because they think it'd be worth something. So they stop buying all these names. And I heard that a lot of those people that, at the end would win top 3 would pay money to buy those names outright because they were taken. And there would just be people buying them left and right and changing them up a little bit. So that way, like if they needed to buy it, they would have to go through them to buy it.
Right. Yeah.
It's just lucrative business, but I don't know how often you could go on there and be like, oh, is this name taken? Oh, genius. I'm just going to buy it and sit on something. Granted, they're not that much money. Like every year, under $10 a name. You got 100 of those for the year. Jesus Christ,
Yeah, no kidding.
You kind of,
that adds up.
Yeah, and you're sitting on something that may or may not sell.
Exactly.
I bought like Rap Boston. I bought, Boston Raps. I let all that shit go. It's just like, I can't hold on to it anymore. I gotta and then you got the people from Google. Oh, we've got a name that's worth, $100 a month that will get you direct business to your website. And it's like this awesome name for my area. And it's like, how often are people going to type that in?
Right.
Like, come on.
Exactly. If you get, decent search engine optimization and all that stuff, you don't have to worry about that because you're going to come up when they type in your,
search.
The keywords. Yeah. If they type in vehicle wraps or whatever it happens to be.
That's all it is, man. And a lot of us aren't computer savvy like that where you type in, you got all your keywords on the back end and the SEO's on point and that in itself, man, I'll tell you, I went to school for web design and, I've foreseen where the web industry was going to go, which was exactly what it is now. It's do it yourself, Wix, do it yourself, WordPress. There aren't that many people buying website services anymore. And I'm so glad I didn't get into it. A lot of big
corporations, I guess, still are,
That's it. But even still, now that I look back at it, okay, did I really want to sit behind a cubicle and fucking write code all day?
Yeah, no kidding.
No fucking way. You couldn't pay me enough to do that now.
No.
It's crazy. And then I
fell into
that.
My original site.
Yeah. Dude, I built my website, the All Wrapped Up
But I didn't
podcast.
do code or anything. I used, Adobe had that program called Muse. And actually, so I guess they've stopped making updates for that now. But Adobe Muse, you could basically design it like you were designing something in Photoshop. Or Illustrator or whatever, and then just upload it. And it works, pretty well. The last place that I was at, I built their original site. They've kind of changed it around now, but I built their original site with that and they were coming up like first page, not, in all the listings. And, when I built my site here, I used it and it wasn't coming up and I was wondering what the deal was. Well, I had used a font that wasn't a web font. So basically every paragraph of copy on there, Google sees it as an image.
Yeah.
So it basically thinks that's a photo. Basically Google thought there was no copy at all on my entire website.
It's very particular in what you type out, how you type it out. It's weird because, so you use the Muse, I use WordPress, and WordPress only allows you to use maybe 5 different fonts. And it's probably the only fonts that Google search engines or SEO actually pick up, during those searches.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what it is. There's only certain ones and I didn't know, but we ended up, because, the company, the corporation that owns us, the Dominion Service Company, they have a big marketing firm that does a lot of work for them because they're a big company.
Right.
And, so they ended up we had them redo our entire website and, they're handling search engine optimization and all that. And we're actually doing some Google AdWords right now. And I kind of did see a decent little uptick in, emails and calls when it first started kicking in. And then we're getting ready to do some Facebook ads and see how that goes. I've heard good and bad from people. I've heard a lot of people say that they really got a decent amount of business from Google ads or from Facebook ads. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, it's a different type of marketing. You know what I mean? It's more direct in your location.
Exactly. Yeah. You can get so precise with your ads.
Yeah.
I mean, we can basically just target, business owners or, business marketing people or, whatever. I'm trying to I want to get a lot more into the,
architectural
wall wraps and architectural. Yes. Yeah. All that stuff. I'm really I'm hoping that this year I can go get my, architectural graphics certification.
Yeah. It's such dude, it is so fresh still. And I think it's going to take off into different avenues where these high-end markets of, buildings and, all these sky rises that are getting built. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many sky rises are getting built right now in Boston. And,
yeah, I just did some elevators. There's an ad agency here in town and they're redoing their whole, office. They're having an architecture firm come in there and, they're just remodeling a huge portion of it. So one of the things they were doing was their elevators because they had these old brass elevators, and, so I went in and did a Dynoc wrap on, all the exterior trim, the doors, and then all the interior. One of them was even the ceiling.
What'd you end up using for Dynoc? What type of pattern?
It's a color. It was like a charcoal gray, almost black. I forget what the color was. It was like 893 or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but it was just a color. It has a little bit of a texture, almost like a leather or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that stuff's fun to lay, and I'd like to do a lot more of that kind of work.
I was going to say, how did you install it? Did you have to put butt seams?
Honestly, no, I didn't have to seam because everything that I did was on a panel small enough to where, it fit perfectly on there. But I think with that stuff, you are supposed to butt seam.
Yeah.
Everything.
It's thicker, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's considerably thicker. But yeah, everything I was doing, like say it was an elevator door. So the elevator door itself is like 7 feet tall, but it's only, I think
3 feet wide or something.
Yes, yeah, 3 feet. Some of them were smaller. They were like 2.5 feet because it was two doors coming together.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're not huge pieces. And even the ceiling was done in 3 sections.
Right. So it's like the trim piece inside?
Yeah, well, yeah, so all the trim work inside, all like where the buttons are, there's little pieces inside, and like I say, the whole ceiling, that whole thing was brass, and they had like recessed lights you just got to cut around.
Wow. How long did it take you to do each elevator?
The first one was longer because that was the bigger one, and it had doors on the front and back. And so it was the surround around. I mean, that one took me probably 6.5 hours. I did inside the elevator, outside, and then I think I did outside of one floor. There's 3 floors. I had to do the outside, but they didn't have all the material originally. Because all that stuff comes from Japan. Right. So they, shipped it, and they gave me what they had in stock, and I had to ship the rest from Japan. So I worked with what I had at first, and then waited for the rest to come in, went and finished the other elevator. Basically I had about 2.5 days, and that includes, like, say, the outdoor trim on 3 floors and the doors. Wow. The outer doors. And so for both elevators, and then the inside, of the 2 elevators.
Tell me, like, can you use, and this is just me asking, I've never installed a Dynoc. I have the booklet of all the samples, but I haven't, messed with it. Can you still can you do a butt seam with the, knifeless tape with it, or is it still too thick for that?
I don't know.
Can they do that?
I know I've watched videos of the installs that 3M has, and they show the guy just cutting it straight to do a butt seam, just like using a straight edge. But I always think every time I see that, dude, you're just cutting on whatever their surface is, though. So that means you're putting a knife mark in whatever's behind it, which, I mean, obviously is something outdated and they don't want to, but I'm just like, I don't think I'd want to do it that way. So yeah, I've only done, I think two Dynoc jobs ever. And so I'm really kind of hoping to get more of that. I did another one at a mall, like in a shoe department wall, and it was done in sections. So it was like 18-inch sections, but they were like 12 feet tall or something like that. Wow. And then I put a bunch of, individual, like, dimensional letters. They had like, every name of all the different kinds of shoes and stuff on it.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I like to see more. I like to get to someone who's like really working with the stuff, like daily, like just going nuts with it. You know, I mean, I feel like everybody's dabbled with it a little bit, but
there's some guys out there who use a lot of it. There's somebody online that watched their stuff. I can't think of who it is. They do a lot of like yacht interiors and stuff, and that's all they do, man. They just do tons of dye knock on the insides of these yachts and redo the whole inside. It's crazy.
I think it's a company out of Florida. They have like a light blue logo.
I can't think of.
I think it's Luso. Is it Luso? I think it might be Luso or something like that. I remember seeing photographs. Yeah, you are right. They do use a lot of dye knock in these boats.
And then there was another one that was, cause they posted some stuff on, Rap Society that it was, they were doing interiors of jets.
Ooh.
And they had to go through a lot, I guess, to do that because FAA's got to see all this, fire retardant certifications and stuff, which, of course, I'm sure 3M has all that stuff.
Right.
So you just got to go through this process to get it approved. But I guess they're doing quite a bit of stuff,
And weight. You never think like how much weight that would add.
Exactly.
Put on a plane that takes that, that's got to be precise,
Right. Yeah.
That's crazy. I like when I see it like in kitchens. I would love to do like my kitchen. Just get samples, start doing like the countertops and all this stuff.
I know. I want to do something. I've got a little bit left over from this job, and I'm thinking I want to do something around my shop so that when people come in, I can show it to them.
Yeah.
So I need to figure out something, maybe a door or something in here that I can put it on.
Refrigerator. You got a fridge there?
Yeah, true. I got to wrap my appliances at home. I got, some black brushed metal that I'm going to do my appliances in.
Dude, like, honestly, when you buy the brushed metal, it's such a pain in the balls, dude. You always leave fingerprints. It never is fucking clean. What a great alternative.
I know, it's funny. Well, John Duver just posted, he went to that auto show and took his car, his C63 Mercedes is wrapped in that. And he said it gets damaged easy. He's like, buy extra because you're going to have to replace panels and stuff. I guess the wrap got pretty trashed at this car show because people were coming by and touched it and picking at it. But he was like, man, it's totally worth it because it got so much attention. He said that car got more attention than a like $1.3 million Bugatti.
Jesus Christ.
That was sitting over there. I mean, wraps, man, they just, they get a ton of attention. And that color, it's such a cool color. Any color wrapped in a brush metal, I think looks badass.
Well, with the sun hitting on it, you get all those different layers and like, you're like, what is this what's going on with this car right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a curiosity thing.
I think so.
That's what it's all about. It's a feeling. It's the shiny ball. What is that? You know what I mean? That's what it's all about. When you get a color change, for me, honestly, and this is just my opinion, you do a color change, you're like, yeah, all right, you change the color. There's no satisfaction in that. When you get like a commercial job, dude, and you got nice bright colors, nice logo, little drop shot, like that shit is like what I strive for. It's like, yes.
I mean, that's all I do pretty much is commercial stuff. I've done a handful of color changes and I don't really like doing them. I mean, it's something I wouldn't mind, like once a year, I'll do a color change. Yeah. That's it. I mean, I just don't want to do that on a regular basis. Yeah. It's just too much work, man. I don't want to, number one, I'm not a mechanic and I'm not tearing a car apart. I got a body shop down the street. I've got a good relationship with the guy. I've done a bunch of work for him. And literally, if somebody wants me to do a color change, I'm going to call him and say, here's the car I've got. How much would you charge me to take off this, and then put it all back on? And then I'm going to add, probably $50 to that, and I'm going to pass that on as part of the cost of my job because I'm not doing it. I'm not dealing with breaking clips indoors and all that crap that goes on. I have no desire. I'm not a mechanic and I'm not a body guy. I'll wrap it with vinyl. I'm not doing all that extra work.
What do you think? Now, let me ask you your opinion. What do you think of this norm of, and this is just going towards a color change. Like, what do you think of this norm of, like, people calling you up, hey, you know, I want to change my color, blah, 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 and then them asking you, do you take my bumpers off? Well, like, who came up with that shit? Like, you don't have to you don't have to take the bumpers off to wrap it. Like, who came up with that norm? Like, this is normal.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who, but you know, I can sort of see it because I have seen some things with, you know, where if you just cut it to the edge, you know, you get some vibration and it sort of gets that little, it like pinches it a little bit.
Right.
So I can understand. I mean, if you're a person who's getting, you know, $5,000-$6,000 for a color change,
yes,
more power to you, dude. Take those bumpers off
yes.
and do all that stuff. But if you're doing color changes for $2,500 and you're doing all that,
nothing's coming off.
You're not making any damn money. I mean,
no way. There's no way you're making money.
No. Yeah, I have no desire to do anything like that. Like I say, I'm fine to just stick with all commercial. I did my truck with a color change, but you know, here's the thing. I didn't do my door jams because I'm not taking doors off. You know,
right.
I did go a little over because you kind of have to with the kind of truck I got. It's a 2014 F-150, and with that bed, I took the bed off
to get
because there's no way you can get back in there.
Right.
If you don't take the bed off. But once again, I took it down to the body shop. I paid him $350, I think is what he charged me, because you gotta get new bolts.
Really?
On the F-150s, yeah, because when they're almost barrel shaped the way they go in. So once you put them in, they're designed to basically break when you try to take them out because they want them to stay in. That's the whole point. And,
thanks to Ford.
So you have to buy new bolts. And so, like I say, it was like $350 to get him to take the bolts out, pull the bed off, and then get new bolts and put the new bolts in when I was done.
Jeez.
And I went and wrapped the bed sitting in his shop. You know, just drove the truck down there without a bed on it, or brought it back over here, wrapped, you know, the front of the truck, the cab and everything, and then wrapped the bed over there in his shop, took the truck back over and he put it back on for me. But I mean, I don't really want to do that with, you know,
every
customers.
pickup truck. Yeah,
exactly.
Forget it.
I mean,
you run a piece of knifeless.
It takes up too much time.
Yeah, you run too much time. Yeah, run a piece of knifeless as far as you can get it. Cut the relief and drop it. That's it.
Exactly. Well, that's the nice thing about commercial reps. They're rolling billboards. They're not meant to look like paint.
Right.
I mean, I try to do a good job, as good a job as I can without going overboard.
Now, do you roll your wraps in fully into the wheel wells, or you do half of the wheel well inside?
I usually go all the way in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually go all the way in. You know, and it's funny, you know, cause I used to not take door handles and stuff off. I have gotten to where I usually do that now. I usually take door handles off, but you know, that's about as complex as I get. I'm not tearing a bunch of stuff. You know, honestly, the main reason I take door handles off, because I can do it where I can cut around them, but it's easier.
Oh yeah.
To wrap without the door handle there. So that's the main reason I started doing it. I did a couple installs for another shop and they took the door handles off, and I'd never really done it. So I didn't know how complicated it was. And I'd never really looked into it because it's just always the way I'd done it. And, I saw him take door handles off and I was like, oh shit, that's not really that hard. So, you know, it's 10 minutes that it adds to the job, but it saves me 10 minutes in the wrap.
Oh my God. And it just makes your wrap cleaner. No seams. You know what I mean? You don't have that weird upper seam and lower seam behind the handle with the color of the vehicle back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. That cup in there always showing through.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I never had anybody complain about it. Not one person really ever asked why I didn't do that or anything else back when I didn't do it. And, you know, but just after seeing that, I was like, you know, it's just a better job. There's no point not to do it if it takes an extra 10 minutes. Just do it. It looks better.
Well,
it's clean.
Right. And at the end of the day too, you know, you leave it long enough tented around that fucking door handle, you're going to get that fucking weird ring around when you cut it, relief it. It just saves you all around. You get your little torque screw, you back it out, pop that handle off, 20 seconds. You know what I mean? To just not have to worry about one fucking piece. You know what I mean?
Yep, exactly.
It's crazy. I mean,
so I do all that now, but you know, I didn't for a long time. I did a lot of vehicles.
Same,
I probably did well over 100 vehicles and never took the handles off.
Right? It's just, you get into the norm. I mean, to us, when you learn something and you do it so well, you don't really fare away from that anymore. You're just like, I can just cut it. It's no problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Cut the T in it on either end. I fucking flip it over, tuck it in, cut it. You know, it's done. You know what I mean? It might take you like 3-4 minutes to do it, but it's just your norm. That's what you did. And you know what? You build the knife skills too with that shit. That's
true.
Just, you know, God forbid you get a handle. You get so put in a place. You're like, I take the handles off. And then you get a handle that you can't take off. And then you fucking forget. Oh fuck, I haven't cut a handle in a while. This might be tricky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's always good to have a little refresher. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Keep those skills sharp.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about your creative side as far as the business, and I know you wear all the hats and everything. Do you usually use a tablet for a lot of your work now, or do you usually use just the main computer?
Yeah, I mean, for most things, honestly, I just use the mouse and everything. I have now, it's a drawing, I think they still call it a drawing tablet, but it's basically a monitor. I don't know if you've ever seen like the Intuos Cintiqs.
Yes.
All right. Well, it's considered a Cintiq alternative. It's basically a little cheaper Chinese made version of a Cintiq, but it's a 19-inch monitor that has a stylus pen that you can draw directly on the screen. It's a Huion is the brand, Huion. Cause I had, like I say, I have an Intuos tablet that you draw on the tablet, but you're looking at the screen, but you're drawing on the tablet.
Right.
I mean, once you get used to it, it's okay. But this is just so much better because it's like drawing on paper. I'm drawing, but I'm drawing on the screen.
Right. And is that something you kind of keep on the table? It's like a tabletop?
Yeah, exactly. And it lays down, not quite flat, probably stays up at like a, 25-degree angle or something like that.
Yeah.
But it lays, maybe even a little bit lower than that, but it'll go all the way up to 90 degrees if you want. So it's funny because I have a different one sitting on my desk in my office. I use it just as a second monitor because it was an older model that I had and the, stylus stopped working and it's a different brand and they don't make the stylus for it anymore.
Oh shit.
So I'm like, man, so my stylus broke and now I've just got a monitor. So that's what I use it as a second monitor. So it's basically my Safari's open on there with all my, email stuff and all that kind of thing. And then my big screen, I've got the 24-inch iMac is like my design station.
Nice. And what are you using for software to run all that? You using Adobe?
Yeah, I use I have the Adobe Creative Cloud Suite. So it's got everything. And then, I run Parallels, which is a program that allows you to run Windows and Mac operating system at the same time.
Wow.
So, because the only thing that I need Windows for is my Onyx software to run my printer. My RIP software.
They get you every time with the RIPs, man.
I know, cause Onyx doesn't, a lot of these things don't come in a Mac, which is aggravating because, most graphic design people, especially like if you were to ever go in any ad agency, every graphic design person is using a Mac to design.
Right.
Most people don't use PCs. So when they make these RIP softwares, you'd think they would make a Mac version, but they don't.
Does it have to do something with, the compatibility of it and like they have to, is it?
Yes, I don't know. But But, so I have Windows on my Mac, and I just run, like I said, you got to have parallels, which allows you to run them both at the same time. So you're literally running both operating systems at the same time. And I just keep a smaller window, in the background, and that's my Windows window, which just has Onyx on it. And so I use that to run my RIP. But even my plotter, I shoot everything over. I've got the Cutting Master software for Illustrator because I got a GraphTech plotter. So I send everything from Illustrator on the Mac.
Yeah.
So literally the only thing I use Windows for is Onyx.
That's crazy. How do you like that program?
I like it. I wish I could remember what else I've used before, because I used to use that Mucho I was talking about that I ran, we used a different RIP software.
FlexiSign?
It wasn't Flexi.
Yeah. That's a great RIP software too. I think it's kind of underrated a little bit.
I never used their RIP software back. Of course, in the sign making days,
right.
Flexi was just a sign making program. But even then, I didn't use Flexi. We used Gerber, which was the original. Gerber had that Omega, which they still make it, I guess. But that was the original sign making software that I used, and used that for a long time.
Wow.
But, then, like I say, once I learned how to use Max and everything, and I started using all the software, like say originally it was Freehand was their vector programs, and then it just changed over. Adobe bought Freehand is what happened. Macromedia was who owned that. It was the company, it was Macromedia Freehand, and Adobe bought them and then came out with, Illustrator, which was basically their version of what Freehand was. So, but yeah, I've just used all Apple and Adobe stuff pretty much since then.
Nice. Any good tips when designing a wrap? If design, basically you just gotta know the cars. That's the thing. I mean, it helps obviously if you've had experience with wraps or doing installs or even watched guys install. Right.
Because obviously there's some things that you don't want to happen. I mean, we've all seen the pictures online of, like a door handle going through somebody's face or, there's that one that was going around where it's like a pipe on the back of a bus and it looks like it's the guy's dick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's, you gotta know what you're designing for and what vehicle it is and what's on it, Other than that, I mean, it's really the same as most anything else.
Yeah. How do you design a lot of your wraps? Do you do them all to scale or do you do them,
I usually do them at 1/20th scale.
1/20.
Cause that's what most of the templates come and I just do it at that. And, 99% of everything I do is all vector.
Wow.
Like I say, that's, I'm right there with Dan Antonelli on that. I like vector. I like the way it works. I can scale it literally to the size of a building and it looks exactly the same.
Right.
You're not dealing with pixels. You're dealing with actual lines. Yeah.
Right.
You still get some big files. I mean, with some of the especially like some of these custom ones that I do, there's a lot of different stuff in there. There's a lot of lines and the files get pretty big, but I just prefer it. I don't have to worry about, resolution or anything like that. I just build the file and the file is the file. And no matter what I do with it, I can print it out 2 inches by 2 inches or I can print it out 200 feet by 200 feet and it's exactly the same.
Right.
So.
It's crazy. I used to do and rip all my stuff from, create all my files in Photoshop and now with the shop that I'm at, everybody's doing everything Illustrator, which is like a complete mind blowing to me that it's more simplistic and easier to change and file setups just a lot easier, and even ripping it, you're not waiting for that rip software to get it going, to get that printer rolling. You know what I mean? With my Photoshop files, forget about it. TIFF files, EPS files. It's just taking like 5-10 minutes to rip because it's just a bigger file.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because, Dan Navas posts some of those files that he's talked about and he's got like, 100 layers or something ridiculous. It's like, Jesus, I can't imagine the size of what these files are.
Yeah. Yeah. Changing, moving something from one end to the other end. It's like, woo. And your resolution can't be that high and it really can't be that low. You lose the quality, but you got to find that equal medium, 80 DPI, 100 DPI. It's just, you're teetering on that.
Well, and then you got guys like, Jamie Mulligan where he's doing things at 72.
Right.
At full size scale.
That's how I used to do mine.
It's funny. I've never tried that, but I would actually like to try like building a file like that one time if I do something that's, got a lot of Photoshop stuff just to see, what it's like to build something like that. But I've never, never done anything full size.
It's not that bad, man. It's just doing the same thing you're doing. It's just the files are just a little bit bigger. And in Photoshop, I mean, for me, you can add a little bit more effects. You don't have to flip back and forth on it,
Yeah.
as you can with, you're converting everything to outlines and all that shit when you're flip flopping from Illustrator to Photoshop.
Well, and that's like I say with this new one that I'm doing, I'm going to do some stuff in Photoshop because there's some shading things obviously that are, you're really a little bit limited in Illustrator.
Oh,
and this is something that's just so much more custom that I want this to have a really high level of detail, even though it's funny because they're not really going to be that big because it's going on a motorcycle. So
right.
It's not going to be huge, but I still want it to be like super detailed. I want it to when you like get up close on it, it's going to have like, every little thing. The fangs are going to have like certain details in them and that, and then a lot of different shading and a lot of different stuff that, you wouldn't have, if it was all Illustrator. But, commercial stuff to me all day long, I'll do everything in Illustrator because I'm dealing with lettering and I'm dealing with maybe some images and I don't do a lot of photographs, in wraps.
Right.
This is another, I keep bringing up Dan Antonelli, but the guy's so good and at what he does. And I've got his book and I've done the webinar with him and I've talked to him a bunch of times online and, he's just got such good ideas when it comes to branding and he never uses photographs in a wrap design ever. Right. He's like super anti-photo. Basically he talks about how HVAC companies, you look around and you see HVAC companies and they have a picture of an outdoor compressor. Well, no shit. You're an HVAC company. Every HVAC company does outdoor compressors. Like that's nothing new. That's not part of your brand and you're not showing anybody anything they don't know. They know that's what you do.
Right.
So why do you have a picture of it?
Being repetitive, it's, they think that that's going to attract their eye. And you're doing the opposite. You need them to attract to who you are.
It's blending in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need to know who you are and how to get in contact with you.
Yeah.
Simple.
I just love his ideas of doing things like colors that nobody else uses in that industry. It makes a lot of sense. And it kind of sucks because I would love to have some of the customers that he has. I don't, I'm sure that he has to talk a lot of them into it. Maybe I'm just not as good at it, but I just can't get people to understand the value of, hey, let's not do your HVAC company in red and blue. Let's do it in,
pink and purple,
orange and purple, or whatever. Like something that stands out. And this is, this has been a pet peeve of mine forever. The sign company that I used to work at and did a lot of, electronic signs, like pylon signs and stuff. The owner of the company was clueless and he ran the company into the ground. It doesn't even exist anymore. That's, so, but he would just like, everything that I tried to design, I would do something in like a mossy green, pylon sign or monument sign or something like that with maybe like, leaves, like a slightly different shade of green in the background, something to try to make it different than everybody else's. And he's like, oh no, I don't think they're not going to go for that. Let's make it tan and black. It's like, dude, every goddamn sign you see is tan and black, or maybe some red, or, it's like, do something different.
Right.
Like I designed some signs that were like purple, and like I did one, it was like it was for a winery, and I did the sign in purple. So I'm like, and it had like purple and burgundy, and it's like, you need to do stuff that's out of the box that no one else has, because when you're driving down the road and looking at signs, if they all are tan and black, you're not going to pay attention to a damn one of them.
Right.
Like, guess what? If you're driving along, there's tan and black, tan and black, tan and black, purple. You're going to notice that purple sign.
You're
or
right.
Teal
You're
or
right.
something,
I think he's not pigeonholed, because that's a bad term, but like, I think he's got a hold of a market in the HVAC company, because he's won so many awards for doing what he does, and he's got that side of that part of the industry, like, packed down. Like, he is, if there's any HVAC company out there that's looking to rebrand, that's the guy you're going to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, he's got a good niche. That's a better term than pigeonhole, but he's got a great niche, and there's so many HVAC companies out there. So many, dude. And it's not just them. It's the contractors, the landscapers. You know what I mean? And his clientele is, people that are, they have, small fleets to large fleets. He's got a large variety.
Right. And when they come to him, they come to him because they're ready to rebrand,
right,
and do something different. And so I think that probably helps. When they come to somebody like me, they're just like, I want to get my truck trapped. And, to tell somebody, oh, hey, your logo that's in Cooper black font needs to go away. That's terrible. And, but they don't want to hear it, because they go talk to the people in their office, and they're like, well, we just ordered business cards. And then you listen to, 6 people. Well, it's been like this for the last 20 years. Well, no shit. But guess what? That's because it's a 20-year-old logo, and you don't want to have it 20. Even huge corporations change their logos after a certain amount of time.
Right.
Now, you look at Coca-Cola. They've had, a dozen iterations of their logo, and it's basically the same, but it's always updated a little bit. They're always changing things a little bit.
Right.
I mean, to keep it the same, it just doesn't make any sense when, you could do something that freshens that logo up. Number one, people will pay more attention to it because they haven't seen it driving around their town for 20 years. And now it looks completely different. And then you change their colors up a little bit, or you change the design, and you get eyes on it that would have just not even noticed it before, because it's something that they've seen 100 times. And once you've seen something 100 times, you don't look at it anymore.
I think once you get like the whole office involved in it, that's the worst thing you could do, because you're gonna have a ton of different opinions, and it's like,
exactly,
who's you gonna take, dude? It's like, do it for you, and do it based off of like your opinion, nobody else's. Because as soon as you get the peanut gallery involved in it,
trust
that's it.
The professionals who know what they're doing, have been doing this, in my case, for 30 years.
Right.
Trust a guy who says, hey, you need to, change up your logo a little bit. Let's freshen it up, make it look a little newer, a little more modern.
Right.
Let's change the design of this. Let's drop the bullet point lists of copy that you have on the side of your vans. This is the great thing about like these guys that I'm partnered with. When they came to me at the last company I was at, they had plain white vans. They had just some blue, mostly blue copies, a little bit of red. And they had 3 different phone numbers.
Wow.
3 phone, yeah. And a list of shit on the side of it. I mean, it was kind of a mess. And so I designed this, he had some ideas of what he wanted to do, and I came up with some other stuff. And so we ended up doing this design, and it was nice. It had like a little sort of a wave pattern at the bottom that like went over the wheel wells, and it was blue with a little red stripe at the top. And then the rest of it was silver, metallic silver. So I was using like color change vinyl for that part.
Mm-hmm.
And then we did his logos on top of it, and we started doing those in reflective.
Wow.
And we dropped all the copy except for the web or the website. So not even a phone number at all, just a website. And those vans looked nice, and they got tons of compliments. Like everybody loved them, but they're progressive thinking enough to be able to say about 2 or 3 months ago, hey, why don't we come up with a new design because we're getting a couple of new vans. They got a couple of new Mercedes Sprinters, or not the Sprinters, the Metras, the small ones. And they're like, why don't we come up with something new? So, it's nice to work with a company that's forward thinking enough to go, well, we have these wraps and we just designed them, 4 years ago, but maybe it's time for a change.
Right.
Because you don't have to keep the same design for 10 years or 15 years like some of these people have. Like you can change it up every, 4, 5, 6, 7 years and come up with something new. And we did a design now that's completely different. It's this blue sort of geometric with like multiple colors of blue in the background. Still a reflective logo. We changed the logo up, made the typeface bigger because their name was so long, because they had it written out all in one line, Dominion Service Company. So imagine how long that is on the side of a van. And then it had heating, air conditioning, whatever, heating, air conditioning, electrical underneath of it. like it was part of the logo.
Yeah. So
I completely changed that. We made Dominion as big as we could get it, service company underneath of that. And that is just their logo. And it is as big as, it's like 8 feet long on the side of their van. It's huge. And now you can read Dominion Service Company from, a quarter of a mile away.
Right.
And the only other copy that's on it is, heating, cooling, electrical, and their website. Like there's it's not a bunch of stuff on there. When it drives by in a couple of seconds, you can see it.
Wow.
You know who it is and you know how to get in touch with them.
And that's what you need with the brands. I mean, less is more. I know it, Dan says that.
Yeah, it is. When it comes to a wrap, that's exactly true. I mean, you want something that's, colorful and noticeable because you want it to stand out, but you don't want a lot of copy and stuff on it. You don't need these bullet lists of, well, we do this and this and this and this and this and this and this. I mean, because no one's going to read that.
Right.
And if you're an HVAC company, everybody knows what the hell you do.
Yeah. No, yeah, because half the time it's always going to say HVAC company or HVAC and
or heating and cooling.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
You don't need the list that we do,
Yeah, we install, generators, this, that, cooling and
I can remember, back in the day, just that was like the norm, people put these lists and had these bullet points and you had, 5 to 10 things listed of all this stuff that you did. It's like, it's not a business card.
Right.
It's not something somebody's holding in their hand.
We
all
all
gotta
did
see
it
as it's driving down the road.
Right. We all did it. That was just the thing back then. That was the thing to do. It was like you said, it was a norm. Like there was.
It was just like putting your city on underneath
the phone
everything
number.
We did. Oh my God. I'm telling you, everything we did like 25, 30 years ago, it would say, Joe's Towing, Richmond, Virginia.
But you know where that came from? All the sign painters did it. That was the thing.
Yep. And it's so weird. Like you look back on it now, it's like, why everybody knows where the hell you're at. Well, number one, you got your phone number on there that has the area code. So people know where you are. They know what the area code is here. I
think it keeps that nostalgic, look towards it. I think it's always cool because, when you see, when there's an old school, painter that is converted to wraps, and they're and they're adding the triangles in between the phone numbers. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I used to actually like that.
Dude, it's cool. You know what I mean? They make
it looks so much better than just a dash. I usually put like dots. I hate the dashes. I don't know. It looks goofy to me.
You never get a nice, it's fucked up to say, you never get like a nice equal distant thickness and longness of a dash to make that phone number look clean. It's always like either too narrow or too long. It's like you either going in to Illustrator and knocking that dash a little bit into a nub, you know what I mean? Or you just stick with the dot. You know what I mean? Yep. I love when when I see one, I'm just like, that guy's an old school person or that girl's an old school person, because you only seen that shit back in the day, and they're still keeping that alive with the new stuff. You know what I mean?
I haven't seen the triangles in a long time. They used to do that a lot, man.
I used to love adding that shit on there. Or you get the nice cursive for the city and state. Get the nice, like the hand, you have to buy them now, like the nice traditional fonts, the old school sign painters.
I've got a few of them. I really like the old school fonts, those old school, like hand lettered.
Dude, when you can add those in there, yes. It's got the nice fucking, almost like filigree style, like fucking bottoms to the Y's and shit. Oh, dude, I love when I see gems like that, I'm downloading it. $25, $30, $50.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of them.
But you know what? That's different, because you're never gonna see that in like on a new school style wrap. You know what I mean? And I think that's what Dan brings, because a lot of that stuff that he has in there, he's always got
I love his old school stuff.
Yeah, dude, you see a square in between the phone numbers, or you introduce him that triangle.
He's got a couple of them that he's done with like robots as the mascots, and those are my favorite, man. I love those, because that was like such a thing in the, these robots back in the 50s and 60s. Like they used to use that for everything, for advertising, because it was supposed to be like some kind of futuristic, and now it's like this retro futuristic. Right. And they're awesome.
Dude, it's just the things that the process. You've obviously read the book and seen like the process of how that shit works. It's just all the variations, the changes. Starts off with the drawing, sketching it on paper, to like getting it to that final stage, man. It's patience. It's quality. It's different, and you have to go through all that whole process to get to that end result. And I feel like Dan has done that. He's set the bar for the brand, and it's not just the wraps, it's branding in itself. That's what it is. I mean, that's what he starts with the brand. Yeah, he starts with the brand, and then you go from there, and then you design the wrap and the website and everything to go with it. Right.
And, he's the master at it, that's for sure.
Oh, he's got it down. He's definitely got it down. I'm envious, as a lot of us are, in the type of jobs.
Dan's one of those guys I haven't met yet, and I really want to meet him in person. I've talked to him a bunch. I've talked to him on the phone. We've had Facebook conversations, through Messenger and stuff. And, we've had a lot of interactions, but I haven't actually got to meet him. I keep saying maybe I'm just going to ride up to Jersey and go to his shop, because his office that he just built.
Amazing.
Oh my God, that place is so awesome.
Amazing, dude.
So I would love to go up there and see it.
He is such a nice guy. I got the pleasure of meeting him face to face. I had him on the podcast, but meeting him face to face at RapsCon, and
I missed RapsCon this year.
Dude, it was unreal.
I went the year before. I went 2017. That was my first time, and it was amazing. Long Beach is badass.
Ooh, but it's such a long ride, man.
It is.
Especially for us. Is it still 6 hours for you? Or a little shorter?
Probably something like that. I mean, I think I had a layover somewhere, so it's, it's actually longer, but it's like, an hour and a half flight to someplace, and then a 5 hour flight from there, 5.5 or something like that. But, I tell you what though, that place was so much fun. And that's where I really got to meet so many people. So the first morning of RapsCon, we're getting ready. I leave the hotel. I go over and get some coffee, and I'm walking to the corner, getting ready to cross the street over to the event. And Jim Miller's standing there on the corner with his wife, Starla. And I'm like, hey, I know you. I was like, well, I don't actually know you, but I know who you are, and I've seen you like online, and so I mean, and he is super nice, and so is his wife, and they were really good people. We talked for a lot there, and then I of course saw him at all the parties and other stuff while we were there. But super nice guy. That's where I met Kevin Kempf.
Yeah.
Got to talking to him a little bit at the venue, and then we ended up running into each other outside of the place one night and stood and, just BS for a while. And, like I say, all those guys, man, everybody was just so nice and so laid back. And, coming from the sign industry, like there isn't anything like that. Like I've been to sign shows. You don't really end up talking to any of the other people there other than, the salespeople who are running the booth or something.
Right.
It's not a community like the rap world is.
I know. Did you ever go up to like New Jersey? It was in New Jersey. They had I think it was the NBM show, or maybe the,
that's at the United States Sign Council one. That's
yes.
the one where I did that competition. Yeah. Yeah. I've been to that one a couple of times.
I used to drive down there. I think I did it 5 years in a row. Cause that was like the only thing I could do, man. Like there was never, like back then, like 2008, 9, 10, 11.
Yeah.
It's still so fresh. Like that was the only thing that I could like go to. Like a lot of people go there just to check out all the new shit. I mean, I could never afford it, but I figured.
Yeah, I went there to look to do a lot of the classes, honestly.
Yeah. Yep. See what's new. See what the new material.
Do you know who Dan Sawatsky is?
Sawatsky.
The Imagination Corporation?
No.
Dude.
Imagination Incorporation?
All right. So this guy, he started off as a sign guy, and he is so much more than that. You look him up. You got to write that down. Look him up. The Imagination Corporation. He's written for like, Signcraft and a bunch of the magazines, but he started off doing signs, but then he got more into doing like basically the entire environment, and then he got into doing theme parks.
What?
And yeah, so he's in Canada. His shop is in the back of his house, and he uses like this modeling stuff. I'm not even sure. It's like, I think this like concrete stuff, but he's turned this building that was basically like a garage into a shop, and the whole outside of it looks like something out of The Hobbit. Is
he the one that creates all these crazy like modeling?
Statues?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
that's the one.
That's going back old school in the Signcraft magazines.
He has classes. I don't know if he still does them. He had classes. You could go up there. It was like, I think it was like $3,000 or something like that, but you go up there for the week and he would teach you how to do these things that he does. Cause he does, they're totally custom, dimensional signs. He does some stuff on the router. I know he was big in with, who was the big router company? Multicam. He was big in with them cause he did their whole headquarters and everything. But I mean, he could do like all this crazy stuff that looked like all steampunk, looking, and man, he's just crazy. Some of the stuff he did is amazing. But his shop, the whole back window is a wall of windows where his desk is, and it overlooks these mountains that are back behind his house. It's just like out in the middle of nowhere. And it looks amazing. But he's so creative. The guy's just unbelievable.
Living the life right now.
But I'm telling you, so here's what he ended up doing. Because he got so well known for doing all this stuff, he decided that he was like, look, all right, I want to make this amount of money every year. I also want to be able to take this much time off for vacations and whatever. So he's like, say it was 4 weeks.
Right.
He's like, so that already takes 4 weeks. So I got 48 weeks, and then there's going to be holidays in there, so all right, 47 weeks. And he's like, all right, so I got to make in 47 weeks, I got to make this number that I want to hit for the year. So that means I've got to make this much money every single day. So 47 weeks times 5 days. So, every day or every week, this is what I've got to hit. And when somebody would come to him for a quote, he would go, all right, it's going to take me, 5 days to do this job. Whatever that number is that he wants to make, it's that times 5. That's what he charges.
Wow.
That's the price. And so he knows he can make whatever, the money that he wants to make, whatever it is, and take the time off that he wants to take off. And he doesn't have to worry about it. But he's like, when you're, one of the few guys who does the things that he did, you can really just pick and choose. And he got to where he could just, pick the projects that he wanted to do and not do the ones he didn't want to do.
And still be happy.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah.
Can we find a way to do that with reps?
No, I'm telling you what, man. I know. He's doing something right that's for sure.
Oh man, it's such a niche thing too. It's like, man, when you got it down like that, when you could be like, hey, listen, I want to make $100,000 clean.
Yeah.
For 47 weeks to make it. It's almost like, honestly, for us East Coast people, and I'm talking about all of us, New York, Maine, Vermont, that's basically what we're at. Because come wintertime, we're fucked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like snow has got us down, nobody's buying shit. Come December, January, maybe February, it starts picking up. Maybe if we got a pretty, shitty winter, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're only working maybe 9 months out of the year, maybe 8 months out of the year. You have to make all your money to cover you for those lull weeks, months, whatever.
Yeah, true. Yeah, we don't have it quite as bad here. It snows a handful of times a year. We did have one, in, I think it was toward the beginning of December, maybe it was mid-December, where we had 15 inches.
Wow. That's a lot.
Which, and it's like that every few years we get one like that dumps like a foot or two. But it's few and far between, and within a week it's pretty much gone. Usually within a few days, because it'll be, we'll get all this snow, and then 2 days later it's 45 degrees, so it's all melting. But it snows, 2, 3, 4 times a year.
Lucky.
Enough so I at least get my fix of snow, because I like the snow.
Do you? Do you want to come back?
Yeah.
Want to come up to Boston? We'll switch places. Plenty here for you to look at.
Yeah, I'm sure. I just need to make some ski trips is what I got to do. I just got to make sure I can start. I got to get back into skiing again.
There you go.
Some ski trips, and then I can get my fix of snow.
There you go.
Because there are a few resorts that are not far away. There's a couple that are within like an hour and a half from here. So and then I can always hit West Virginia and go to Snowshoe, which is like, I think that's only about 2 hours.
Are they making artificial snow up there?
Mostly, yeah. I mean, it gets cold enough. They get a little bit of snow because they're in the mountains.
Right.
But it's mostly just man-made snow. They only get like, a 2-foot base. It's not like, these places that have an 8 to 10 foot base.
Right.
So I used to ski, when I was a kid, I skied at a couple places in New York State that were, close to the Pennsylvania line. There was, one called Peak and Peak, and another one called Holiday Valley.
Mm.
And, they're, in, Western New York. But they were, definitely a little bigger than the ones down here.
Yeah, they got a few up north from here that, man, I used to snowboard and I haven't gone in years, and it was mainly because I was afraid of breaking a bone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You know how it is. It's like, you're solo. Fuck, goddamn. If your fucking arm went,
you break something, you're done.
Who's doing the work?
Can't make money.
Right. I was always scared about it, man. It was just a fear that I had that, oh, God forbid, like my leg broke. I couldn't sit there and rap or my arm or my finger. Like, dude, it was just paranoia all the time. Even when I get sick, it's like, fuck, it's, you know, you gotta power through it. You know?
Yeah.
Somebody's gotta be there, open the door.
Yeah, I rarely take off. Lucky for me, I rarely get sick, so.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, exactly.
Find it now.
I do not get the flu shot, and I don't get the flu either, so.
Lucky. How do you fight that off? Is it the beard?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. It's beard power.
That thing's
I think
fierce,
it's,
bro. You've got a nice beard.
Thanks.
It's a big beard.
It's funny. I've had it. I don't know. I've had it maybe 6 years or so now. But I would always do that no shave November.
Yep.
And not shave. And then, like I say, about 6 years or so ago, I did it. And then come December 1st, my wife said, if you shave that off, we're going to fight.
Come on.
So, yeah, she told me I wasn't allowed to shave it. I was like, all right, fine. It's
perfect. We'll keep it.
Yeah.
Not a lot of the top, but you know what?
It's gone through variations. It's gone from everywhere from, just a little shorter beard to, not quite ZZ Top level, but, it's been down there.
It's strong, dude. It's strong. I'm sure it's changed colors throughout the years.
Yeah, gotten a little grayer. Yeah. It's funny because it's mostly red. And when I was like a little kid, like, 2-3 years old, my hair was like bright orange, and then it turned blonde. And then as I got older, then it turned brown, but then my beard comes in and it's still pretty much red.
Wow.
But, then a couple of gray streaks in there. So.
I feel you on the gray, man. It's fucking crazy. It's just, they trickle in and they're so like thick, dude. Like
mine came in like these 2 streaks. It was like 2 stripes. Like I had these 2 stripes.
Racing stripes coming down your chin.
Yeah. Now it's like they're, sort of filling in a little bit now, but it was weird. It was like these 2 stripes, like very distinct.
You put a lot of oil in that thing?
I do use some sometimes. I got like a beard balm that my wife bought me, and then I got some beard oil. I got some beard conditioner.
There you go. That's the way to do it, dude.
That stuff's nice because, you use that, you go in, get in the shower and wash it, then put the beard conditioner and I leave it in until I finish everything else.
Yeah.
And, that actually helps a lot. Makes it lay down a lot nicer.
Softens. Yeah, I've got this cool, this wooden comb. It's got like a thick end and then a thinner end to get really tight. It's the only thing I can use in the morning to get the beard tamed, man. I wake up, you know which side I was sleeping on if I don't comb it. It's like fucking
It'll be bent to one side.
Yeah. Oh man, it's so fun. It's only been the last few years I've had it long. I've had it super long before, and recently I'm trying to keep it trimmed out because I'm getting married here in 9 months. So it's trying to keep it maintained to a equal level until I tie the knot, and then it's like full bloom after that. Shit's gonna get real after. No, I gotta look clean for the photograph. So
I got you.
That's the one thing the wife wants to keep neat for the time being. So yeah.
You have to take her to SEMA, and that can be your honeymoon.
Oh shit! I'm hoping it's a few weeks before SEMA, so we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah,
I'm still working on it.
Planning on going again this year. I hope it'll work out. I really want to do RapsCon and SEMA again. I did 2017, and then last year I just did SEMA, which was fun. I was I stayed out at Shane Lloyd's house with everybody else that was there.
Yeah.
Dan Nava and, Sean McNair and, Joe and other Sean and
other Sean.
There was everybody, other Sean.
The Goof Troop.
Yeah, it was fun, man. We had a great time out there. It was, Dallas was there. Dallas Fowler.
Yeah.
We, a lot of just hanging out at Shane's house, which is a badass crib. His pool and everything is so sweet, dude. And he's got a freaking DJ booth out there beside the pool, like under these rocks. It's like a cave. And they were in there,
That's
and,
crazy.
There's like, a bench that's in the water and a table around it and like bar stools that are under the water so you can sit at the bar while you're in the pool.
Jesus.
Hot tub in a little grotto. Yeah, man, the place is sweet.
Wow.
And you get to hang out with Moby for the whole week, which is awesome.
Yeah, Moby's amazing. I met Shane rather, and Moby at RapsCon, and man, it was just so good to just meet so many great people, man. And you know what it is. It's just networking. You see, it's the one time that we can all let loose and just have fun and not really think about the industry, but be one with it at the same time. It's like,
right.
It was cool just bumping into everybody, but it's nice when you get the after parties. Everyone's, got a couple drinks, let loose, just hanging out, just being normal people outside of, the stress that we have to deal with, amongst the industry. And it's just.
Yeah, it was so fun.
Yeah.
RapsCon, like I say, that was, RapsCon 2017 is my first time meeting so many people. And it was, just seeing people that you've literally only seen in magazines or online, like you see the work that they do. And for me, it was a little bit refreshing actually to go because I'm sitting here thinking, I don't know shit, I mean, because when I first started, I just started doing full raps like 5 years ago or so.
Right.
And I did do one training class. Adam Sumner, who now does the 3M classes at his place out at Rapix in Burbank. He was teaching another class. This was right before he started with 3M. I think he was already in talks with them. He actually was flying out to 3M like right the next day after our training, but it was a place called Right Look in San Diego. And they do like paintless dent removal classes, and they do like, classes on like detailing cars and stuff like that. So they had, I guess, started and decided they want to get into, teaching raps classes, and Adam was the guy who was teaching it. So I did a 3-day training out there with him, learned a lot. And so I guess I'd done like 2 full raps before I went out there, but a lot of experience with vinyl.
Right.
And it was cool, a good experience. And then I ended up going back to Adam's place. That's where I got my 3M preferred, is out at Rapix. Just because since I know him, and I was like, well, if I got to go somewhere anyway, I got to get on a plane and fly somewhere. Why wouldn't I want to hang out in LA instead of going to Minnesota or somewhere else?
Right, yeah. Right.
So I did that, but meeting, people at RapsCon and watching the demos, because I'm sitting here, wondering how I do things compared to how everybody else does things. And then I would sit there and watch guys, like say, that I've seen in magazines or online, and then watch their techniques and go, oh, well, he's doing it the same way I do it. It was reassuring to me to go, well, shit, maybe I actually know what I'm doing. I actually belong here, So that was one of the cool things about it for me, is that I kind of felt like I was on the right path. And then, like I say, after just seeing how cool everybody is and what a family everybody kind of is,
Right.
And it's been a really, really cool, experience to be in this. Like I say, it's so much different than the sign industry, where nobody talks or they try to cut your throat at every turn. and you have some of that in raps. yeah, exactly. I mean, and you have some of that in raps, but it's definitely not like that. With most people. I mean, everybody is super helpful, especially these top guys. Jeremy Connor, that guy's, I've talked to him. He's super cool, and he's, willing to help anybody. There's just all these guys that are, the who's who that are known worldwide, and they will just stop and talk to you and carry on a conversation like your old friends.
Right.
And they're guys who would, answer any questions that you have. If you're wondering, how do I do this or how do I do that? Man, you can get on the Rap Society page and, ask a question, and you're going to have a dozen dudes who are going to be like, I've had that experience. Here's how I handled it. Here's how it turned out, and you would never get that in the sign industry.
Never, ever. It was always everyone's hush hush. Nobody gave out secrets. Nobody.
Yeah. They're worried you're going to see who their customers are. But the funny thing is, I can go on your website and see who your customers are because you got pictures of your work.
Right. It's like if I don't have the time to steal customers. Like if people are getting quotes, people are getting quotes. It is what it is. It's a competition. It's who's going to get it without,
exactly.
you don't want to lose your shirt. Well,
and that's the thing is I've done installs I got a local company now that they get me to do a bunch of installs for them. I'm not going to go after their customers because guess what? I'm already getting the work. Why do I need to go after the customers? So I can make, an extra $50 on the job.
Well, people get greedy.
So what?
People get greedy. Yeah. That's all it is greed. It's like, I can make 100, not 50. Okay, let's get the job.
For me, it's not.
It's not worth it.
For me, it's nice. I can go, oh yeah, you want me to go do this wall wrap? Well, it's that size by this size. Okay, it's $325. And all I got to do is go install it. They're printing it. They're doing everything. I show up and install a job. It takes me an hour and a half.
Right.
And I'm gone.
It's labor.
And I get paid.
Right.
Yeah.
Labor. I mean, no cost of material. Perfect.
Yeah.
I'll profit.
Take that stuff all day long.
Yeah. All profit, man. Why not? It's there. Take it.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. And you're helping out another shop. Great. Perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
It's bettering.
And the thing it is, if I need help one day, I'd say I've got a job and it's a little too big. I can call them and say, hey, you guys want to come give me a hand on this job?
Right.
And, you've got connections.
Right.
Of course, also there's so many connections. That's the thing. Other cool thing about, Rap Society and pages like that is you can find guys. I mean, how many times you see people post on there, hey, I got a big job. It's this, looking for somebody to help install. And I mean, you'll have 5 or 6 dudes in 20 minutes saying, hey, yeah, I can help you out.
Yeah. I just saw one recently on, the Facebook one, and, it was something in I think it was North Carolina. No, Colorado. It was Colorado.
Yeah.
And I tagged, Jacob on it from, Lucid Wraps. I was like, hey, look, check it out. You know what I mean? You're right there. And, I don't know what ended up happening, and I've had people tag me and stuff, like for the Boston area. Hey, hey, check it out, and then, it didn't end up panning out, but it was a great lead.
I've gotten work. I had one good job, man, that, it was somebody in Tennessee was looking for someone. And it's funny, I tried to tag another guy because I thought it was closer to him because when I looked it up, it actually pulled up a neighborhood, not a town.
Wow.
That was up near him. Well, so it turned out it wasn't that. It was actually another town. And it was still away. It was like an hour and a half from me. But, he was actually posting looking for, an install for a friend of his that was in Texas.
Oh, wow.
But like I say, it was like an hour and a half for me. I ended up getting that job and it was some propane trucks and some stuff. It literally was going down, taking the old decals off, putting new ones on. I left my house at 6:30 in the morning, drove down there, took the old stuff on, slapped the new stuff on and drove back home and was home by 6:30 and made a nice little paycheck and didn't have to spend anything but a little bit of gas. No materials. Everything was there already.
Wow.
It's like, man, I'll take those kind of jobs all day long.
Why not? A little travel time? Why not?
Yeah.
See the United States a little bit.
Yeah. I've been quoting, seems like here over the last 5-6 months, especially, I've quoted a lot of work for out of town shops that are looking for like a local install. And I've gotten a bunch of those. So, I mean, to me, that's really nice work. I mean, I've even done like vehicle wraps. They've just sent me the wrap in a box and I install it here and it's for a local guy, that's maybe a part of a franchise and they have the contract to do the graphics everywhere else.
Right.
But, so they just send the work to whatever local installer happens to be around. They'll hit some people up and and sometimes they ask for a quote, and sometimes they say, look, here's the budget I've got. I can pay this to install this. And, usually they're pretty much, they know where they need to be. And usually they're right, they're right at a good price. I'm just like, yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, a lot of the work that we ship out, because we work with a lot of franchises as well. A lot of the work that we ship out, it's usually we're looking at 3M preferred installers or certified installers to ship these graphics to. Like we sent like a box truck down the Shane in Vegas for a corporation. We shipped some stuff to California to some people that I've networked with and had on the podcast, and it's funny how everything just comes full circle. And it's great that going back to certification, it's just great that we have that network of people that we can rely on. I mean, on the other token, there are people that are certified that aren't the greatest. But,
there are. But you know what I think that is? Honestly, I think it's not necessarily that they're not capable of doing. I think they're probably capable of doing really good wraps, but some people just get lazy.
Yeah.
I've done it. Man, I've been there.
Yeah.
It happens to everybody. I did a couple installs for another company, and honestly, he sent me some pictures of some spots that were a little fucked up. I rushed through at the end because I was like trying to hurry up. And, I felt like a heel. When he sent me the pictures, I was like, Jesus Christ, dude, I'm sorry. All I can say is I fucked up.
We'll get it fixed.
Yeah. I mean, so it happens. All you can do is just make sure that doesn't happen the next time.
Right.
But yeah, there, overall, I think, you're going to get a pretty good installer if you're going with a 3M preferred or an Avery certified, or, somebody who's been through some sort of training. I mean, and sure, I know you've had that discussion 100 times that, there's some people out here who don't have them and who are amazing. There are guys I'm sure out there that have, certifications that aren't even close to as good as guys that don't have them.
Right.
But here's the thing. When a big corporation is looking for someone, they're going to go on a site like 3M's website, because a lot of them have spec'd 3M colors or 3M vinyls or it used to be like specific 3M vinyl colors. Like I used to do a lot of signage, and they would have like, say it was Coca-Cola would have, it's this 3M red is our color that you can use.
Right.
And, so you'd have to use those colors. And that's what they're going to look for. They're going to look for the guys who have those certifications, so that they're, because it gives them some sense of, safety that the job's going to be done right.
Right.
Whether, that happens to be the case or not, but that's what they're looking at. And I'd rather have it than not. And like I say, I want to get the 3M architectural certification, because I think that's another really good one to have. I got this Dynac job because the guy found me on 3M's site, even though I'm not certified, architectural, just because I was 3M preferred and I'm listed on the site. That's how I ended up, the guy had me quote the job. I got the job. So
that's what it's all about. I mean, it pays to play. You know what I mean? To be on that website, to be on there, to have that certification, it's only a matter of time until things go that route. And for the first 6 months I had it, honestly, I don't think I got a single call from it. Yeah, it takes a little while, the momentum, you know what I mean?
But it's like all of a sudden here, like I say, the last probably 6 to 8 months, it's, I've gotten a whole lot of inquiries off of it, and it's definitely more than paid for itself. I can tell you that.
Right.
With the jobs that I've gotten, it's been paid for. So
and
to me,
that's how you got to look at it. Yeah. You got to look at it as an investment. Yeah. You're spending $3-5 grand, to go out there, fly out, put yourself up.
Hotels, everything else. Yeah.
But it's a cost.
You get a couple of jobs.
Exactly. Yeah. Cost of a couple of jobs. And how many jobs are you going to do in that year? Hopefully a lot. But,
right.
You get 4 or 5 of them in, and you paid for your flight and covered your expenses, and, now you're certified, and that you'll take you to your grave. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's, until they figure out how to do a recertification or a refresher thing that you have to pass, but.
I know there was a big thing going around about, it's probably about 8 or 9 months ago on the Rap Society because someone had their certification revoked. I don't know who it was. I guess there's an idea of who it was because there was a bunch of stuff going around at the time, but, apparently there was some pretty big issues and this person got their 3M cert revoked. But
not going to say it shouldn't happen more often, but I think it should. That's just me putting it out there. I mean, there's people that have been called out and there's people that have had, a lot of mistakes and things like that. And they always say, if you get a bad install, tell them. You know what I mean? They always say that. They want to keep the industry alive and clean and fair and, at its prime. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's like, it's just like your license.
Yeah.
It's just, you drink and drive or you get caught speeding too many times. You gotta pull it,
Been there, done that.
Yeah. You learn your lesson. You know what I mean? You're not gonna do that again. Take that as a slap on the wrist.
I think I probably did do it again though.
Yeah.
And I think it took me losing it a handful of times to figure that out.
Yeah.
I had a lead foot when I was young.
Yeah. And then what do? You gotta take a class. You gotta do a couple things again. You gotta drive with the Stadia again or whatever the case may be. And it's, you might not go through the whole thing like you did the first time, but you're definitely gonna have to prove yourself that.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not gonna do it again. I mean, that's the only way you're going to keep a thumb on, what's going on in the industry and who's doing what. And I mean, don't get me wrong. That's why we have the Rap Society. That's why we have all these different groups that, to keep everybody on their toes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want to be put on there in a bad light. Nobody wants to call you out on purpose, but you can only do so many wrongs before people are just like, you know what? I can't use you or whatever the case may be. It's just, it sucks, but that's how you weed them out.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They have to do some type of revamping, making sure people on the list are still in business and start weeding those out. And
there was a post today on the Rap Society about, somebody was saying that there's, I guess, some shops in his area that are claiming to either be 3M preferred or Avery certified and they're not. And, that's some shady shit right there.
Yeah. It's like, what are you going to do? You're only going to get the locals. If you're not on the list, you look like an idiot saying that. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Cause they're going to look you up. And if you're not on there, I mean, which when you first, it takes a while. Sometimes it can take a couple of months to get you on the list once you get it. But, cause I was getting a little aggravated because after I got it, I was like, I'd go on there and look and I still wasn't on there. And I'm like, I'm putting it on, cause I put it out on Facebook when I got it and I put it on my website and then I'm like, man, if people look me up, it looks like I'm lying because my ad's not on there, but it took a couple months and then it was on there. And
as long as you have your card, you know what I mean? You got your certificate.
They did, I know there was a thing there for a little while. They had an issue, I think, because they had redone their site and a bunch of people's names and stuff disappeared.
Oh,
and I think mine was one of them. And,
that's scary.
Yeah, so there was a big, basically I hit up my rep and then I think there was some posts on Rap Society about that. And, it was like, took a couple of days, but they got it all straight. But I think it was a glitch. Like they were updating the site. They were changing it around a little bit or something. And when that happened, a bunch of the stuff, kind of fell by the wayside. And, but as far as I know, they got it all fixed. Mine was back on there. So
that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's the main one I'm worried about.
That's it, brother. That's it. So we are creeping on almost a little under 3 hours here.
That's crazy.
Right? Goes by quick.
It
it's
does.
Insane. I I wanted to ask you, who was your biggest influence that, it doesn't have to be rap related, but, that kind of keeps you motivated and going?
I think in the industry, it's, God, probably John Doover, because that dude is got a kick-ass business. He's got a great attitude all the time. He pretty much just always seems like he's, happy, and he doesn't worry. Like he said, this thing with his, car the wrap getting scratched up and stuff at the auto show. He's just like, whatever. He's like, my car got more attention than a Bugatti. It was worth it. He's like, it's worth every minute it takes to rewrap it. It's not a big deal. And like that kind of attitude to me is just, it can't be beat. And he's such a smart business person. I really want to go take the business class with him and Justin Pate. That's something that I really, really want to do, because I think that I'm trying to get better at business.
Yeah.
And, not that I'm not worried as much about the rap part of it or the graphics part, whatever, but the business side is what's going to grow everything and what's going to, help you in the long run.
Absolutely.
So I really want to, grow that part of it. And I think that, he sets a really good example for how to do that. And dude, he's got some of the people in that he knows Andy Frisella personally, because
right.
I know you follow Andy.
Yep.
Yeah. He's in the same area and he's known him forever. Ben Newman is his damn business coach.
Really?
Yes. I'm like, man, when you got people like that around you, that it raises the level of everything you do. And that's, I want to find those there. I don't think there is that level of people here, but I'm sure there is, they're just not well known like those guys are.
Right.
But, that's the guys that I want to find around here that can kind of help me elevate everything about my life and everything about my business, to get on a higher level, because I don't want this to be a one-man shop and I don't want it to be a two-man shop. I want to build this up where it's, 6 or 8 people, 10 people. And I want it to, I want to get those national accounts, and I want to have, fleets of vehicles in here, and, I want to be in with all the architects and the interior designers and all the people around here doing all the Dynoc work, doing all the interior design, doing all the wall wraps, custom wallpaper, everything, So I want to build this into that kind of business. And so those kind of guys like, him, Andy Frisella, obviously, that guy I love I started listening to his podcast last year, and I literally listened to every episode. I started at the beginning, and within 6 months, I had listened to every single episode all the way back. And I don't remember, it was hundreds.
Yeah.
I would literally just listen to it. I would listen. I started at the beginning and would just listen, and it goes in order. It just keeps descending order. And I went literally all the way back to number 1. And then every now and then, after he's got another 5 new ones, I would go back and listen to the new ones. And then I would go back to where it was at the bottom and start listening. And, it's just, there's so much good information in there.
Yeah. It's just picking the pieces. You know what I mean? That dude came from nothing.
Yeah.
He got stabbed in the face. All this stuff that would have went south and changed his life. He didn't let it change his life over one lady that had it worse than him that he bumped into in a supermarket.
Yep. Exactly.
That's when he changed his life. It's just, he's got a great story, and he's just an amazing human being. And, now he's able to provide for other people,
Yep.
And all this stuff. Another great person, Ed Milet. He's a Boston guy too. And
when they started that whole, the Arate Syndicate thing, I wanted to join that so bad. And I'm just like, man, I just couldn't do it. I just didn't have the money. And it's like one of those things where I'm just kicking myself. I'm like, I know if there's a way I could scrape together this money to join, it would probably, it would come back to me tenfold if I could do it.
Right.
I just couldn't do it.
It's a lot. You got to write that essay and get him, all that stuff. And there's only so many spots.
Well, it was a chunk of money too. That's the thing, is it, like what it would cost. That was where I and hopefully, things will change, and within a year or two, I can maybe afford to do something like that,
right.
And then that will just raise the level of my business even more, because
Agreed, man. It's taking those little bits out of each and every episode and applying them to your daily life, and and not all of us have the funds. You know what I mean? Like you said.
No, that's it. And I'm looking at, I want to try to build this business. This is basically my retirement account. I want to build a business that becomes my retirement.
Right.
That when I go either with, some kind of residual income, or I can sell it, whatever it happens to be, that I can, turn this into something else. And, we didn't get a chance to talk about it. I'm trying to, in the process, I want to start a clothing line as well with my artwork.
Ooh.
A lot of Japanese stuff. I got some other ideas for some things, but that's something that's in the works. And I'm, basically I got a lot of design work to do. Not a lot of time to do it. So it's trying to squeeze it all in around this other stuff, but it's something that I will absolutely have going sometime this year. I need to sit down and look at some firm dates and like make a commitment to it, but
make a little residual on the side. Nothing wrong with that.
That's what I'm thinking. It's something that like I told my wife, if it comes, even if it, let's say it doesn't take off the way I hope it will, or it doesn't become what I hope it will. If it makes me an extra $500 a month,
so
hey, that's extra income,
Right.
So
something's better than nothing.
But, I have high hopes for that too. I have, I want to start it off with t-shirts and then eventually grow it into other types of clothing. Like I want to do like nice leather messenger bags and stuff like that, and belts and watch bands. And I got a bunch of ideas for some different stuff that I want to do with it. So it's like, I got big grandiose plans for that. I just got to get the beginning stages first. Baby steps.
That's the hottest part. It's just getting started.
Yep.
That's it. That's awesome. Awesome. Sweet, dude. Well, it's been amazing talking to you, Rob. I've had such a great time, and I know it's been long overdue.
Yeah.
Long overdue.
Yeah, I know. I think I wrote you after your very first podcast episode.
I remember.
That's when we first started talking.
I remember. I definitely do. I definitely do. And a lot of people came out and was like, man, where can I hear it? And it was still right in it at its infancy, and still trying to figure out how to freaking podcast and record the shit. And, I definitely do. And here we are, episode 78 right now.
It's crazy.
Got you on. We're creeping up to 100 soon, and it's been amazing. And I've watched you kind of grow, not knowing your story too much, but watching, your Instagram, your Facebook, and all that good stuff. And you got some awesome work there, and everybody's got to go on.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Everybody's got to go out and follow you, because you're a one-man shop, and if everybody knows, what it's like to run a business with 6 people, well, here's one person doing all of that. You know what I mean? Give him some love, check him out, follow him, check out what he's got going on. Great designs and great installs. Man, you're killing it.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Yeah, hopefully I get more design. That's my another one of my goals for this year is more design stuff where I can, 'cause I don't get to do near as much as I'd like to do, or near as much of the kind of stuff that I want to do.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to push, more design and more cool stuff. So we'll see how it goes.
That's it, brother. That's it. Well, let everybody know where they can follow you on, social media or website.
The website, raprichmond.com, or, I'm on, Facebook and Instagram, just at 68 Creative, all spelled out.
No numbers, guys. No numbers.
Yeah, exactly. You can follow my personal Instagram is it's Hutch Extreme. At Hutch Extreme. And I don't post a ton there, but I do post some of my design work that I do there, and some of my artwork, and other than that, it's just dogs and kids and my house.
Fun stuff. Fun stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Rob, complete pleasure having you on the show, man. I wish you well for 2019.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Same to you.
What's up, folks? Hope everyone enjoyed this episode. Thank you to everyone that tuned in, and thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to IBOW Training, offering a variety of training options such as training at your shop, group training classes nationwide, and even private design print profile training through remote login. Learn more about IBOW at ibowtraining.com. Thank you also to We Print Wraps, the industry's #1 source for wholesale printed wraps, offering free nationwide shipping across the U.S. and Canada on all orders over $500. And don't forget, exclusive listeners of this podcast save 5% on your next order when you use promo code all wrapped up at checkout. See why industry pros love them and visit WePrintWraps.com. Till next time, folks, that's a wrap.